Hello and welcome everybody, welcome one and all to another Playday in Grand Slam Galaxy. I am your commissioner, Willie or Wonty, here with my co-commentator, Silver Lily. How are you doing today, Silver Lily?
I am doing just fine, Willie, and it is good to be back. Let me tell you that. I am sorry for my absence over the last 3 Playdays.
I'm not sure, I wasn't keeping track, but while you were gone, the league has exploded. The league is in smoldering ruins. The league is in shambles. Somebody please help the league. Are you ready to go over the standings?
That I am, Willie.
Alright. Heading into Playday number 12 in Grand Slam Galaxy. How about we go over this in game order? Silver Lily, what is our first game of today?
First game of the day is going to be Spitballs versus the Bows at Wario City during the day.
Alright. Now the Spitballs are in an interesting spot here. The Bows are all but mathematically eliminated. Technically, if they win out and like the FireEggs or flowers get beyond smoked, there's a way. If the flowers and FireEggs get absolutely smoked, they're not facing each other in day. Oh no, the FireEggs and flowers are actually facing each other in Series 7. Oh, that's gonna be incredible. But that does mean that the Bows are mathematically eliminated from playoffs. The Spitballs are in an interesting position, actually. If they win today, and the Flowers and FireEggs both lose, that means that the Spitballs will be guaranteed a spot. Even if they lose, it'll be almost impossible for them to I don't know. I'm looking over this. I'm realizing that the Monarchs and Musicians might already be guaranteed a playoff spot. So the Spitballs, if they win today, are all but guaranteed a spot unless they get absolutely destroyed in Playday number 7. So we'll have to see how they go against the Bows later. With their 5-6 record, holding over the 2 4-7 teams who are playing against each other in Series 7, it would take a complete collapse from them. They would have to lose today and get destroyed in the next series in order to not make playoffs. Meanwhile, Silver Lily, what is Game 2 and what are those teams doing in the standings?
It will be Monarchs versus FireEggs at Yoshi Park during the day. Now, Monarchs are currently in 3rd on the standings. They've got a pretty big run differential over the Musicians. Though they did fall 2-0 to the Musicians in the prior series. They're pretty firmly in 3rd right now. And they're going up against the FireEggs, who are in 7th, tied with the Flowers in terms of game record, but 15 runs back.
That does mean that Oh, go ahead.
You were kind of just talking about both of these teams in your analysis of Spitballs v Bows, as you were talking about who might still be able to drop in the standings. The FireEggs, of course, in a very rough position. If they lose this game, and the Flowers... if they lose this game and the Flowers win their game against the Musicians, then the FireEggs not only will have to win, I believe, both games against the Flowers next week. Or no, they would technically only need to win... Oh, wait.
They basically have to win both.
Here. Give me a second here. I need to do a little math.
Because of the way run differential works, they would have to win both games.
They would have to win both games, and they would have to win both games commandingly. Or... No, I think they could win one and drop one as long as the win was a massive at least 17-run blowout.
If it's an absolute destructive showcase, maybe.
Which we have seen before in this league, and we have actually seen go against the Flowers, but we have not seen from the FireEggs.
Well, the FireEggs...
It would be possible for the FireEggs to still claw back, winning only one game.
Well, speaking
But they would have to do it in dominating fashion.
Of course.
Go ahead.
Speaking of, that does lead us to the third game of today, which will be only slightly less pressure on them. The Flowers versus the Musicians. Now, looking at this, in order for the Musicians not to make playoffs, they would need to lose against the Flowers, and then... Nope! Nope, the Musicians are locked for playoffs. Oh, sorry.
I believe both of the Monarchs and the Musicians have clinched.
Yeah, because...
Precisely because their opponents today, the Monarchs and Musicians respectively, are playing against the Flowers and the FireEggs, the ones who are most at risk of missing playoffs. And since the Flowers and FireEggs play each other at the end of the season, we are almost certain to see one of those teams knock the other out of playoffs completely.
The only reality is where both the Flowers and the FireEggs win their games to go to a 5-7 record, and then the Monarchs and Musicians would have to lose both of their go to a 6-8 record after losing both, and the Monarchs have way too much of a run differential to lose it. The Musicians, technically, if they lose today and they lose the next two games, and the Flowers and FireEggs win today and then trade the series, could technically not make playoffs, but that would take a tremendously specific set of circumstances.
Especially with the Musicians' last series going up against the much beleaguered Bows.
Oh yeah, the Bows would have to sweep the Musicians, which would be a fascinating result. Regardless, our last game of the Playday, Silver Lily, what have we got stored in us in the bottom of the game? Bottom of the day.
My apologies, Willie, had to mute for a second. Last game of the day, we have the number 1 team, Bowser's Monsters, versus the solid commanding number 2 in Bowser Jr.'s Rookies. We had a close game in that last series, lost at least in part due to a disastrous bobble by Rookies outfielder John Cena. Managed to bobble a fly in such a way that it bounced off his glove and over the wall, turning what should have been an out into a 2-run home run in a game that was won by the Monsters by 1 point.
Wild.
So we saw an incredibly close game last week. The Rookies are going to be trying to do it again to prove they can, in fact, beat the best despite some mistakes.
Absolutely.
Whereas the Monsters, they're hoping to seal their ticket. I mean, they've already long since sealed their ticket, but they're hoping to make sure they take commanding control of first seed if they beat the Rookies here. Monsters cannot lose first seed. Otherwise, it is technically possible. If the Monsters drop the next 3 games, one of which is to the Rookies, and the Rookies win all 3, then it will come down to then the Rookies will actually be first seed instead. Each team can take 2 of the next 3, I believe. No, actually no. Yeah, that is the only way in which Monsters drop first seed. If I'm thinking correct.
Well,
I might not be.
Well, regardless, that battle for first seed will come at the end of our Playday number 12. And before then, the beleaguered Bows, the first mathematically eliminated team from playoffs, will have to face the Spitballs. The Spitballs, of course, in that interesting position where we may or may not see them reach playoffs depending on the result of this game. But against the Bows, solid chance for the Spitballs heading into this. The Spitballs do have home field advantage, and they're taking the Bows to a field which has traditionally been very bad for them. Warrior City making it through the pick ban phase, and one where the Bows have lost record-breaking games, I believe, twice now. We'll have to see whether or not the Bows are able to do any sort of late season damage to the standings, or whether the Spitballs can all but seal their ticket to a postseason appearance.
I know a way I can put this, Willie. There is a concept known as the magic number, which is how many games you have to win or your opponents have to lose, your closest rivals have to lose before you are guaranteed to make playoffs. Every team that is not the Flowers or the FireEggs have magic number 2. They either have to win 2 games or watch one of the Flowers or FireEggs lose 2.
Well, should be an interesting. So I admit, some part of me is pulling for like the FireEggs and the Flowers to win, just to make the end of this season extra spicy. But until then, we're ready to get into game number 1. Just doing last verification to make sure that we don't walk into this with any mistakes. We don't want another swapping of the Miis to technically result in a restart of a very, very good game. Cough, cough. Stretches my shirt collar. But I believe that we are all good to go here. Welcome everybody to Playday number 12. Welcome back, Silver Lily, to commentating. We start our Playday with the Bows against the Spitballs, for the Spitballs to try to all but seal their playoff spot, and that starts right now. To make sure. Oh, can you speak for me, Silver
This is
Lily?
the first game of 2 on Wario City today, isn't it, Lily?
Yeah. Why?
Just pointing it out for all the people watching that this will be the first game of Wario City, but the only one in which you'll be seeing Wario. Unless you count the big bust of him sticking out of the theater back there.
Fair calls. Fair calls. Okay. I'm just watching audio at this point. Give me a second. Let me make sure everything's settled.
There was a quick out made by Blooper. Managed to catch a fly, or a short fly. And then a strikeout from Birdo, as she failed to find the correct ball placement from Waluigi's trick ball. However, that is followed by a single from Chance, and then a quick out by Yellow Magic Koopa to end the inning. Bo's not able to make much production out of that inning. 1 single, 2 flyouts, and a strikeout to start off the game. Well, it's going to be Yellow Shy Guy starting off the game on the mound for the Bows. We'll see how long he's able to stay there, as Green Drybones immediately takes a pitch for Yard. I believe that was the second pitch he saw this inning. Second pitch of the game for the Bows, turned into a home run off that brutal bone of the Green Drybones.
Okay, and that's one way to start a Bows game. I'm sure any Spitball fans are relaxing in their chairs. Iwata, though, will pop right out to Birdo at second base, and we'll have to see what the defense of the Bows is able to put together. I mean, it's 1 run, but it's only 1 run.
It's always interesting watching a Shy Guy pitch a star pitch and get a strike out of it, because the ball just goes so high and then just kind of falls back into the batting box.
The umpire doesn't have to stand behind the plate to tell if it's a strike or not. The umpire actually has to stand to the side of the plate and like watch where the ball falls to try to figure out, does this count? It's not the batting cube traditionally, but in Grand Slam Galaxy, we do apparently have to make the distinction.
I think it falls just in as it crosses the plate. What would normally be a pretty easy to hit Aoife's pitch gets some pretty incredible acceleration due to gravity.
Oh wow, almost catching out Wiggler on his run home, but the soft pop fly from Yellow Toad, aided by the outfield misdirection a little bit, is just enough time for that speedy Wiggler to run his way home. heading into Season 2 of Grand Slam Galaxy when it happens, a lot of thought will have to happen for, like, how these players want to better themselves. And I think that speed from these players and their ability to make good base running decisions will be probably one of the top things that can improve in this league, or at least will lead to very interesting niche options. What do you think?
I'd say absolutely, Willie. One of the things we just do not see in this league is base stealing. We've seen the occasional attempt, but it's usually almost immediately broken up by the decision on the batting mound. Batting mound? Wow. I have been out of the game for too long, Willie. At the plate. Usually broken up by a decision of the batter at the plate. And I'm sorry, I need to interrupt myself there. It looks like Blue Drybones just didn't catch that.
Could not get his glove on it. The light bobble letting the runner be safe at home and letting the inning continue. And that outfield mistake will force Berto to take the mound for her team in inning number 1.
Yeah, we have plenty of slower sluggers in the league, but we don't have many players who can take what ought to be a single or perhaps even an easy ground out and turn it into an extra plate or two, or an extra base or two. And I think that is something several players in the league who maybe just don't have the strength to be a slugger in the way they might want could look at taking themselves, improving their base running, so some of their softer hits that aren't immediate outs can still be turned into a single. Now, I love the Mariners in the MLB. I know they're not the Galaxy League, but I love the Mariners. And I think a few more players could do to take cues from a player like Ichiro, who was able to do things like that.
I was wondering where we were going with that, but Ichiro was... I should have known as soon as the Mariners came up. Is that another 3-run homer? Yes, it is.
Oh my goodness, Willie.
We are still in inning number 1, and not only have the Spitballs successfully rounded their batting order... Well, actually, no. They've done so exceedingly well, scoring 9 runs in inning number 1. Berto can seal this. Yeah, one weak hit.
For a little while there, we had seen some slightly closer Bows games, if I'm remembering correctly. But they did go into this game with a run differential of negative 119. And this game is a perfect example of why they got so deep there, Willie. The previous game of this series ended only 11-3 in the Spitballs' favor.
On Bowser Jr.'s playroom.
In Bowser Jr.'s playroom. Now they're on Wario City, a much smaller, more aggressive field.
Yeah, we might be here for a minute, regardless. What was the point I wanted to make? Something yada yada. I don't remember, unfortunately. But it will be loaded bases for the Bows. Both Dry Bones acting as the batters they need to be, and Gray Shy Guy. I mean, if the Bows are able to start bringing these runners in, they could have a promising second inning, but no.
We've seen some magic from Shy Guys before, but we will not see it here. Gray Shy Guy grounding out into an easy double play that completely defuses the bases loaded situation. Wiggler, one of the league's 2 Mr. Consistencies. Both of them been a little less consistent lately. Both Wiggler and Luigi over on the Flowers have been struggling a little bit at bat lately, and we'll see it there again. Wiggler with a quick hop over to, is that regular Dry Bones, I believe? Yes,
regular
Dry Bones on or at shortstop.
I mean, that's the trap of media attention. That's the trap of everyone starting to pay attention to you, starting to hype you up. Maybe it's getting in the head of not just Luigi, but Wiggler heading into this postseason. You have to hope that the morale boost of dealing with the Bows. Nice double play from the defense on the Bows there to end that game. Ground out to Dry Bones, turned over to Yellow Shy Guy at second,
Birdo
turned over to Blue
already
Shy Guy
getting
at first.
Tired.
Sorry?
Birdo is already getting tired. I think. I saw that sweat drop. That didn't seem like just a little bit of inning disappointment, and they had no reason to be disappointed in that inning. That was a
Oh,
quick
what a snag.
defensive turnaround. Excellent snag by Iwata. We may be seeing Birdo pulled off the mound fairly quickly. It seems like that's happening more and more to some of these pitcher captains. As we get later into the league, they're running out of stamina a bit faster. Teams are having to go through more pitchers. Waluigi was always like that.
Waluigi has always tended to suffer. He'll definitely have to work on his batting arm in the offseason. Statler raising questions as I would say, a personality fixture of the Bows over this season. All eyes are on the man in yellow. I was talking with you before this game, like, will his contract be renewed, or will he be let go from this league? The question remains. I mean, he's a fine enough player, but a fine player on a bad team looks worse, and we'll have to see what he can do. Yellow Magic Koopa can't do much as they fly out to Wiggler and end the inning.
And that is the question for a lot of these players in jerseys. Well, a lot of players have contracts that guarantee their stay in the league for a very long time, including most of this Bows team. The players in jerseys are on much shorter term contracts, even when they're captains of the team, like Miku, like Miku for the musicians. We don't know how many of them will be staying versus leaving when it comes to the next season. So keep an eye on them as we head into playoffs, and keep an eye on Wario's bat, taking it for yard, just barely not fouling out, crossing over the stands before it crossed the foul line. That'll be the 10th run from the Spitballs this game, and it will chase Birdo off the mound only in the bottom of the third.
Yellow Magic Koopa is an interesting relief hitter. I mean, the Magic Koopas are definitely a family of pitchers here that I've been watching with great interest in Season 1. I believe that they have been almost misused going into this series. A lot of people drafting them to be used as those reliefs. I'm trying to think of the equivalent for secondary, but for third place, not tertiary. Is it tertiary?
I mean, it's usually just relievers. They're often used kind of as closers, someone you can put in right at the end of the game and trust to get you through one inning of play.
Yeah, but I've been very interested actually seeing by chance a Magic Koopa. I don't think it was Bolt who had the standoff performance, but I don't remember which Magic Koopa it was that was put into a shortstop or second base position and showed that Magic Wand really isn't for show. What a double play. What an excellent double play. Turned over from the Bows. Blue Shy Guy keeping his glove on, and in a rare moment, catching out the player at second from a line drive down the first baseline. What a excellent fielding ability from the Shy Guys.
And honestly, I think we see a lot of that from the Bows. We see some very genuine talent on this team. They just can't seem to put it all together in a way that allows them to tighten up their defense or offense. I think any of these players could perform on a different team, but there's just something about this Bows squad that does not work for them.
I'm gonna unplug and replug in my mic. You take commentary for a second.
Alrighty then. Well, we saw a quick out from Blue Dry Bones there, over to Wiggler, who threw it to first base. Blue Shy Guy actually gets a pretty long hit out to right field. Will turn that into a single. A pretty safe single, but not going to be able to take it for a double. That does set up someone on the mound for this Dry Bones hit, which Okay, bounces off the back wall and is not a foul out, but is still a foul. The Bows were almost certainly hoping for a home run there, hoping to get on the board. Instead, Dry Bones will just have to hit another single, similar to Shy Guys, with a little bit of arrow interference to make sure he has all the time he needs to make it to first base. 2 on for Gray Shy Guy. Gray Shy Guy was the one who came up at bat in that bases loaded situation earlier in the game. This time it will be an excellent long hit right along the baseline, but that does not curve foul. It will only be a single for Shy Guy, but everyone else will run 2 bases, allowing Blue Shy Guy to run home. Now a long hit from Yellow Yoshi that will stay at the edge of the field and plop down harmlessly into Reggie's glove to end the inning. Bows on the board, but still trailing by 9.
Okay. Bottom of the 4th now. The question that we have to ask ourselves is how long can Yellow Magic Koopa last on this mound before the Bows are forced to do a classic Bows maneuver and run through all their relieving players that are left to try to find a relieving pitcher. Oh my god.
Oh, excellent use of the POW block. Since Blooper was the base runner there, completely avoided its negative effects. No chance for a blunder on that one, just broke up what could have been a fielder's choice situation and turned it into a single with no outs in time for Reggie to hit that long Boo-assisted double and bring another one home.
You know what?
Magic Koopa beginning to tire. That if we have seen Magic Koopas perform excellently in the infield. You are absolutely right on that. And I do believe it was the Monsters that moved their Magic Koopa, that moved Bolt's starting position to shortstop or second base, Willie?
Second base.
To second base in order to take advantage of that magic wand and surprise defensive prowess. The Bows, however, are not going to do that. They are instead going to send Yellow Magic Koopa to the outfield, and some bad chemistry with Yellow Yoshi is going to... It was ultimately not much of a threat to the Spitballs base runner.
Oh,
But
the
we do
bobble,
get
the
to
POW
see-
block.
We do get to see those malign effects, what can happen when your team members do not like each other, as Yellow Magic Koopa's throw home is very weak.
Yeah, a lot of trouble on a lot of teams, actually. When you're in a situation where your players in the outfield need to throw a laser home, you're typically in a bad situation regardless. So when it's coming for the Bows, or for a lot of teams which don't have players exactly with cannon arms in the outfield typically, you can run into surprising difficulty trying to even mitigate a player getting an extra base when they shouldn't. And when it comes to getting home, well, that's the last base that matters, but the base that matters the most, Yellow Magic Koopa not fast enough to get under that ball to right field, and the bomb interference will give Waluigi plenty of time to run from first to home off a single from Iwata.
And we've been seeing some excellent item play from these tricky Spitballs today between the Boos, the POW blocks, and the Bomb-Oms. They have been getting extra bases, extra runs. That one was an honest 2-run home run by Blooper. But Blooper, I want to remind you, has already come into home this inning. One of the item plays I was talking about was a POW block play that broke up the infielding for Blooper's run to second base. Blooper just came home again off of his own home run.
Well, finally, the inning will end off an excellent magnetic catch, I'm going to call it, from Yellow Shy Guy. And that does mean that the Spitballs will have to settle for 8 runs at the bottom of the 4th. Birdo charging so early. Who do you think gave her that ring? Probably herself.
She liked it, so she put a ring on it.
Yeah. Statler now gonna have to see if he follows his captain's faith. The deep bomb will be caught by the outfield chemistry. So it's a catch on the fly, but a little bit different. Birdo's line drive to first caught. Statler's attempt at a bomb caught by the good outfield. Outfield is another question that we'll have to see going into next season. Lots of I'm very curious whether or not the powerful bats that we've seen from other teams will be able to keep up some of their dominating performances. We know that there are players in this league like Hammerbow, like Donkey Kong, that can basically knock away a homer almost guaranteed off any pitcher in this league half the times they come up to the plate. So we'll have to see whether or not pitchers are able to adapt to that, or whether the batters next season are able to continue their domination.
That we will, Willie. A lot of eyes are going to be on those sluggers, those very dynamic players, quite often fan favorites, or your favorites to hate, depending on your position.
Hello, Statler. Welcome to the bottom of the fifth. With 2 runners on, Miyamoto wants a bunt, but with item support, if it stays in, which it does, the power block, an attempt at a buddy throw. If Shy Guy had just taken the L and let the ball dribble a little bit, Miyamoto also would have been affected by that power block and would have gone out. But the attempt to knock it to the pitcher at home, while they were also disabled by that power block, lets Miyamoto safely reach first off a bunt. And
a pure chaos situation there. Power block ultimately won't matter as Gray Shy Guy gets the throw off. But it will be another single, a long single that keeps the bases loaded. No outs still on this inning. Captain Waluigi stepping up to the plate. The Spitballs are showing us some excellent small ball right now. They've had a couple of slugs themselves.
When her team needs her, the Captain Birdo catches the attempt at a line drive off Captain Waluigi's bat, lands on third base, and quickly turns it over a second for a 1-2-3 triple play. What a showcase from her. You know, I think that Birdo has sort of struggled to come into her own this season. She was on in the Winter CPU Classic ever so long ago, that Eggs team that barely missed the finals, which credit to her. She acted as a starting pitcher on that team and performed pretty decently. Now, at the end of her season, at the end of her debut as a solo captain, well, I hope that she can gain the confidence. Oh my god, there's chemistry in the Bows outfield. Statler and Yellow Toad. Oh, sorry, that's the Spitballs, never mind.
The Spitballs are defending right now, Willie.
I was so focused on Birdo that I was like, the Bows are on defense right now, of course, but no, that's my bad.
Yellow Toad actually acquired by the Spitballs in a trade with the Musicians that traded Purple Toad, Toadjima, over to the Musicians. Toadjima had been a Wilds player in the CPU Classic, so for some it felt a little like a coming home party. Yellow Toad putting in some good work for the Spitballs in this series.
I think that anyone who's paying very close attention to these players is paying attention to the Toads. They were maybe a little bit undervalued as players early in Grand Slam Galaxy, but I think that every Toad on every team has performed not just great defensively, but have shown themselves to be relatively reliable bats. And I think that the Toads will be pretty hot commodities come next season as a way to patch up some of these teams, give them not just a little bit of extra speed, but a good slap bat for when they need it in the order. Speaking of slap bats, it's Iwata who knocks one out to center field for the single.
Absolutely, Willie. And one of the things that makes Toad such good players in this league is how gregarious they are. A number of players have reported having a good relationship with their Toad teammate, including a number of these players in jerseys, sometimes bonding just over the colors they happen to be wearing.
Well, a favorite color will go a long way. We'll have to see whether or not the Bomb-Omb is able to disrupt this play. It shouldn't. Yes. Dry Bones keeps his wits about him.
We almost never see items used in a way that will actually disrupt a pop fly out.
But when it happens, it's so devastating.
It is so devastating. Usually done with a green shell. I think we've occasionally seen it with a POW block or a fire. Bombs tend to be fired late, and they take a little bit of time to explode.
Well, the biggest, I think, that we've seen, nice double play from Wiggler, diving to catch that ball, and Gray Shy Guy is not able to turn around nearly in time. The biggest disruption that we've seen to the outfield has surprisingly enough been banana peels. Bananas really come in a lot faster than a lot of those other disruption items, and I think scare the players. Like, if they just hold their ground, they'll typically be okay, but the intimidation factor is just too much for them.
Absolutely. Banana peels, not only do they scare the players off of their position, even when they're fired around them, they can often cause multiple slip-ups in the ensuing scramble to get the ball back to the bases and try and still get an out.
All right,
they can be absolutely devastating when used correctly.
Speaking of absolutely devastating when used correctly, or not, that was a terrible segue. Yellow Shy Guy manages to snag out the ball from Reggie, and Toad, we'll have to see whether or not our previous plays of these players, yes, even off a star hit or plenty of item support, Yellow Toad is able to drive himself to first base. You would think that maybe being traded, especially in the middle of the season, would have a morale effect on both Yellow Toad and Tojima, but no, both have performed more than good on their respective teams. And unfortunately, Yellow Shy Guy, despite making an excellent play at the start of this inning, bobbles an important catch and allows a runner on first and a runner on second right as sub-captain Wario steps up.
Well, maybe that was the morale effect, Willie. Maybe they got better morale from the trade. Neither Toad had actually been seeing play on their respective previous teams. Yellow Toad got some play on the Musicians early in the season, but was taken off fairly early as the Musicians started scrambling around their lineup. Wario will go out at first there after advancing the runners, so now it is up to Waluigi to try and bring anyone home. But as I was saying, both Toads had been sitting on the bench for a number of games until the trade was initiated, and then each of them went back on the field, started performing amazingly well for their team. Yellow Toad has been crucial to this defensive structure for the Spitballs, forming the yellow outfield with Reggie and Miyamoto. And Purple Toad has just been a solid batter and positional player for the Musicians. So I think maybe neither Toad was on the team they really wanted to be on at the beginning of the season.
Maybe not on teams that were able to field them effectively. That extra gregariousness, as you put it earlier, and as I struggled to pronounce it, maybe helping them on their new teams as they slot in a little bit better chemistry-wise. Also, I want to give a quick shout-out to that interesting interaction between Blue Drybones on the mound and Waluigi, exchanging star pitch for star pitch for star hit, and that at-bat. But now, as the Bows come up, it's Statler, who drives a deep hit to right, but it won't be deep enough to escape the field, and the shell will not come in time. A little bit of extra oomph from Yellow Magic Koopa, at least trying to disrupt both outfield players. Maybe try to send a little bit of a message, but the intimidation factor will be hard to keep up when you immediately pop out to Wiggler at shortstop. Twice. Welcome to the bench, Yellow Shy Guy. Yeah, Wario Field. We have so many fields actually in Grand Slam Galaxy, which are just batters' havens, which maybe went a little bit unappreciated. I think we all expected Daisy Cruiser to be the #1 most dangerous field for the defense when we started off this season, but is it fair to say that Wario City is just a batter's paradise?
I think that is fair to say. It has a lot of potential fielding disruption, nothing that can really work in the fielder's favor, and relatively short, or not short, but smaller dimensions compared to a lot of other fields. Obviously, you know, Peach's Ice Garden, Bowser's Castle, Bowser Jr.'s Playroom are the biggest in the league, but Wario Stadium, especially with that dip in the middle of center field, stands at one of the smallest, and that makes it so much easier for players to hit home runs than on other stadiums other than maybe Daisy Cruiser.
Maybe arguably the biggest difference to me is not just those dimensions where, like, yes, one good line drive can sneak its way over the edge. God forbid that little indent on the middle of the outfield, which traditionally has been so hard for catchers to snag home run balls on, and giving them just a little bit less time since it can escape the field a little bit earlier. But these arrows in the outfield too, also just giving batters a couple extra seconds when they really need them in most cases. Sometimes we've of course seen the ball been redirected into an outfielder's glove, but I think more rarely than it really helping the runners. And there's Wario tricking the outfield, trying to score even more runs, snagging a double, assisted by Boo interference just in time for the Captain Waluigi to come up.
Yes, indeed, and I think part of it is also that Wario Stadium, that is such a weird double play, but excellent fielding by Shy Guy. Was that a star hit from Waluigi, or was I hallucinating?
That was a star hit from Waluigi. I think last inning, or maybe 2 innings ago, when he came up to bat, his star hit forced a bobble, but I think Shy Guy there was able to keep it more than in check, and a very weird double play. I think Wario was stuck on second because the base runner on third stayed still. It definitely was not caught in the air, but what a weird form of double play.
I think it was just a bad situation all around. If the base runner had run for home, they were almost certainly being caught out at it. Unless we got some sort of weird double jam where Wario then tried to turn around and go back to second after the ball was thrown home to try and give the runner on third base a chance to return to third. It could have played out differently, but still some excellent fielding by Yellow Shy Guy, just corralling that Waluigi star hit. That's what I'm talking about when I say these poor beleaguered bows still have some talent. Not a lot of players, not a lot of situations would have been able to turn that double play, and they managed it. But that doesn't really save you when you've already let up 24 runs and have only found one of your own.
Well, if you're a Spitballs fan, you should be celebrating. Pending results later today, of course. The Spitballs with a 24-1 victory over the Bows, with MVP honors going to that traded Toad, should have all but just absolutely sealed their fate in a playoff appearance. Well, I don't know exactly how to digest this game. It's really just the Bows can have one or two odd showcases from their pitchers, and I think that the Spitballs did an excellent job really pouncing on that opportunity when given to them. I do want to give the extra special shout out to the Yellow Toad, of course, for managing to get MVP honors, even on a team who was hitting straight bombs, with Wario on the team, with Green Drybones showing the potential of the Drybones players, Iwata having an oddly successful game at the bat. I'm happy to see a Toad take it home.
some incredible performance from the Toad, up there with the best bats of the game, and with some incredible fielding, able to shut down some of the Bo's few attempts at a home run, combined with his fellow outfielders, an absolutely deserved MVP.
You know, it really is Toad outfields, their speed, their ability to get to the position they need to and seal those body catches to deny home run hits. It's should be an inspiration to any outfielder out there who asks themselves, how do I play better? Look to the Toads, who have proven themselves yet again and yet again to be an excellent defensive staple. I think the real eyebrow of this game, despite our praise on her and despite her ability to turn that triple play, is Berto, who even as a captain and as the starred player was not able to put up any numbers besides apparently using an item correctly at some point in the game, and is one of the lowest scores on her team when we expect her to be a very, very fine pitcher and an even better batter.
Just has not had the performance you would expect of a player of her caliber, and I think that goes throughout the season. Normally she is one of the highlights of her team, but it's not difficult to be a highlight of a team that only scores about 3 runs a game, in a league where most games are in the double digits in terms of points.
Well, the Bows will have one last chance to steal a second game away in this season. That'll be in their series against the Musicians, which will come up next week. Until then, the next 3 games all have incredible post-season impact. Our next game, can the Monarchs seal their postseason appearance? Or can the Monarchs all but knock out the FireEggs from a postseason appearance on Yoshi Park? I believe it's this. No, I'm sorry. This game. There we go. The Monarchs, a team that maybe we had some unfair doubts on when in the middle of the season they started to slide a little bit and rejoin the middle of the pack from that lofty second position that they held on to for so long. Though, to be fair, part of that can be attributed to the rapid rise of the rookies. Technically, I'm curious. Technically, the Monarchs do have a way to sneak their way into that second seed if they can pull out a surprise win, or if they can pull out the win today. And if the rookies fall, if the Musicians win today and the rookies fall, that second seed battle can get a lot closer, as with 3 games left to play, the rookies are only in second by 2 wins right now. So one bad Playday, and they could very easily fall out of being able to secure that bye slot. Now, the way the playoffs will be set up, I think that first and third should not be on the same side of the brackets. Oh no, it might be. I'm gonna have to go double check that. So it's possible that if the rookies actually fall into third, they could actually face the Monsters before the finals if they make it that far. But for right now, I'll stop being distracted and I'll talk about the Monarchs versus the FireEggs. Silver Lily, what are your highlights of storylines going into this game?
Going into Monarchs versus the FireEggs, I think one of the biggest highlights, Willie, has got to be Fraud Watch. PD Piranha and King K. Rool have both at several times during this season been cited as players on Fraud Watch. Supposedly some of the league's top sluggers constantly getting shown out by other teams or even other players on their own teams. So I think both of those players are going to be trying to make a point about how good they can still perform in this game. King K. Rool trying to keep his team's chances at the postseason alive and PD Piranha trying to punch his team's ticket. I'll put it that way. Punch his team's ticket to the playoffs.
Well, regardless, we're just about ready to see if the FireEggs score this win here on their home stadium. They will have a much comfier position to be in, but still be near that bottom of the ladder and possibly eliminated from playoff contention. The Monarchs will be chasing that second seed and desperately in need of this win. Which storyline will carry us into the postseason? It's Monarchs versus FireEggs. Game number 2 of Playday 12 of Grand Slam Galaxy starts right now as we return to Yoshi Park. What a symbolic moment it would be for the FireEggs if Yoshi's team is eliminated from playoff contention, or all but eliminated from playoff contention, on his own field.
The FireEggs do not have the best history on Yoshi Park, Willie. This is actually where they gave up the only game the Bows have won in this season. They lost it to the Bows on this very park, I believe at this very time of day.
You know, we talk about the disruptors, Luigi's Mansion, and Luigi's Mansion and Peach's Ice Garden, yes. I honestly think Yoshi's Park might be the most chaotic roll of the dice field that you can bring a team to. I love Yoshi's Park, but it is definitely a field that can decide the game by itself.
Yoshi's Park picks and chooses favorites, Willie. Your team can do a little bit to turn the tide in their favor by trying to aim for those pipes or trying to knock it out towards that train. But at the end of the day, it is the park itself who decides who wins and who loses. And right now, the Monarchs are just trying to ignore that with solid hits away from all of the various disruptive parts of the stadium.
I think if you're a
base is loaded.
Yeah, I think if you're a FireEggs fan, you're more than happy here, especially with that mistake of base running. Firebro hesitating on the chance of a possible pop fly catch, which fair play to the man. But if you're a FireEggs fan, you're more than happy here, as all the big sluggers from the Monarchs aren't able to bring home a big home run in the first. Now, admittedly, yes, Captain Yoshi did kind of bobble that catch attempt and maybe could have sealed the inning. So 1 run goes to the Monarchs, which is arguably undeserved here and arguably makes it in on error. But still, you cannot be mad as a FireEggs fan right now.
I don't think missing that is technically an error. I don't think that was a bobble. I think Yoshi just missed.
It's not an error, but it's a mistake.
It is a ultimately not too disastrous due to the situation they had been in, but it could have been 0-0 going into the bottom of the first. Instead, there is already a 1-run difference that the FireEggs are going to try and make up here. Mario starting off their batting order, some excellent hitting that just falls fair right before it's caught. Will be a long single out the center.
Also, I want to point out, the end of last inning was a star hit that went out to left field, and I instantly got scared. I instantly was like, not again!
Charge hit from Ash Ketchum is gonna go too far. It will be an easy catch for Toadette in perhaps the chief example of what we were talking about with those Toad outfields. Blue Toad, Toadette, and Princess Toadstool, who will be swapping with Toadsworth once it's time for him to leave the mound, and locking in the Toad outfield for pretty much the rest of the game.
It almost makes me want to pay extra attention to Blue Toad here. I think that he goes overlooked as being part of that weaker half of the Monarchs batting order in the back half, but I'm going to be paying closer attention to him to see how this Toad narrative goes as Pegasus watches the slider from Toadsworth, and Mario, despite getting on base early for the FireEggs, is left stranded at first as no other batters in the rotation are able to produce.
You never want to be caught struck out looking. just absolute disaster. And here is Princess Peach Toadstool with a quick single with a little item support. I don't think she needed it, but it gave her all the time in the world to run over to first. Now Toadsworth, noted for having a couple rare decent batting performances from the veteran player in his time on the Wilds before they became the Musicians. Been performing very well for the Monarchs in this season.
Oh god, is Toadstool going to be caught out? Oh, she is caught out, and Toadsworth is on third.
Toadsworth at third, she's stuck in that jam and will not escape from it. A bit of a base running blunder from the Monarchs there. It takes two sometimes to make an out. Sometimes it's... Or, I've completely screwed up what I was going to say, so let's just move on. The Monarchs are hoping to move on home with this slugging from Boomerang Bro.
You know, I was going to say that the FireEggs may be having some trouble here after laying two early batters on. As PD Piranha came up to the plate, it does mean that Toadsworth will be able to navigate his way home off that clean single up the middle from, I believe, was that Boomerang Bro? Yes, Boomerang Bro.
Boomerang Bro. And off of a star pitch from Mario, Boomerang Bro caught the fastball, turned it into a single, and a run batted in.
Magic Koopa is looking for a bunt with the item support right now. He will get
it'll
it.
Be a fireball. Will it be fired? It will. It catches Mario. It catches baby Luigi. Magic Koopa runs safely to first.
We have loaded bases and the most dangerous slugger on the Monarchs, Fire Bro, stepping up to the plate now, but he's not charging. He only wants the slap hit, and Captain Yoshi manages to snag that out of the air to turn the double play.
A couple of bad bases loaded situations that the FireEggs have managed to defuse with only one run going across each time. It is now up to their slugger, King K. Rool, to see if he can't lower this batting deficit.
Oh.
He will not. The burst of speed from Blue Toad, making it there before the train and throwing Toadette up in the air before the ball leaves the outfield.
What a sacrifice play. I was convinced. If you want to talk about fraud watch, I was convinced that K. Rool had that homer the second it left his bat, but the longer it hung in the air, the more I watched Blue Toad start to scramble, the more fear I felt.
That is one of the defensive advantages to Yoshi Park that makes it such a dynamic field. It has very long dimensions compared to a lot of other stadiums.
I'm not sure.
I think it's actually comparable to some of the Bowser stadiums.
I'm not sure about that. I'd have to check.
It's definitely longer than most others. I believe it is longer than the most basic stadium, Mario Stadium.
Maybe. That train in the outfield definitely does add a couple extra feet that really can matter. Extra question here, though, that I want to look at for the FireEggs versus the Monarchs here, especially as Yoshi catches out Toadette on first, is the Monarchs have, at least, while they have been in several positions where big home run threatens the entire scoreboard, they've been able to at least get a modicum of offensive success in both of their first two innings, whereas the FireEggs have been completely shut down. I think that the Monarchs are lapping the FireEggs in the batting order now, despite it only being inning 2 and despite the scoreboard being so close. Excellent double play from Yoshi, by the way.
And that's one of Yoshi's highlights as a captain, an excellent infielder, on par with the Hammer Bros and Magic Koopas in terms of his ability to turn those double plays from hits that other infielders might have missed.
Yeah, Peach's batter number, 7 or 8 for the Monarchs. Peach's batter number, double checking, 8. This is batter number 8 for the FireEggs. But whereas it's Peach's second time to the mound, Red Yoshi, batter number 9, this will be his first visit to the plate this game. Neither he nor batter number 8, Baby Mario, were able to get much success. And you gotta worry about the FireEggs' chances when so many of their batters aren't getting chances.
And you're gonna see that, you're gonna see this. It might only be a small score lead, but the sheer amount of getting on base is going to take its toll on Mario as a starting pitcher. Toadsworth has not shown a sign of tiring, neither has Mario yet, but Mario's faced a lot more batters already. Toadsworth's faced one full rotation of the lineup and a couple extra batters after that.
Haven't all 3 FireEggs innings been getting like 1 runner on base and then 3 outs?
Something like that.
That was batter number 11 for them in 3 innings. So in 2 innings, they had 1 successful batter. And in 1 inning, they went 3 up, 3 out, and we didn't even comment on it. Baseball is an odds game at the end of the day. There's a reason why we like to talk about slugging percentage. There's a reason why we want to talk about hit percentage. And there's a reason why PD Purana is one of the most feared sluggers when they're on. As finally, Fraud Watch lifts its eye from the flower as a beautiful bomb down left field nets a 3rd run for the Monarchs.
Mario still staying strong on the mound after that one. He wants to try and make it through this 4th inning. His team's lead still, his team still has not fallen that far behind. He's kept a team with some pretty good slugging to only 3 runs, but his own team really needs to back him up with their batting performances. I believe Mario has been the runner on base. In the 2 innings, they've had a runner on base.
That's a very fine point, actually. Thankfully, even the Boo won't be able to stop Yoshi from turning the double play and denying the Monarchs more than 1 run. But the FireEggs, their offense has to come alive at some point. And this is, to be fair, exactly where they want to be in their batting rotation. Baby DK and Pegasus, both semi-decent hitters, able to get on base a decent amount of the time, as Baby DK proves with a shot up the middle. And if they can both get on base, and if K-Will can put just a little bit more velocity behind his bat, this could be a tie game by the end of this inning.
What you've got to watch out for, hits like these that can turn into very quick double plays. It will not be a double play as Baby DK slides into second. Instead, it'll be a fielder's choice to get the out at first, or rather just kind of an out that advances the runners, I suppose. Not a fielder's choice in this situation. King K. Rool, however, remains on Fraud Watch with another long out to Toadette.
And that just means, yeah, another inning where only 1 runner gets on. Sorry.
Yeah, no. It's all right. That is really what is sealing these eggs in. Really what might be sealing their fate in this game is the devastating power of these bros. Not only are they incredible hitters, but we have talked all season about the power of their infielding, their ability to reel in balls and turn outs that many other players can't get. And the Monarchs have 2 of them in the infield.
The Monarchs have more than hit their quota. The Monarchs have managed to hit their quota also for this inning, as one of those bros, Fire Bro, knocks away his own slugging shot at the top of the 5th. Now Mario starting to tire, but has to face plenty of decent slap hitters like Toadette, who gets on base. Blue Toad, narrative is on you, buddy. Can you perform?
He is not rated as highly as some of the other Toads. I believe that Yellow and Yellow Toad and Toadjima are considered to be better batters than Blue Toad and Agaric from their spring training ratings.
Also, big shout out to Yoshi for seeing through the Boo to allow that at least 1 out to happen. And Mario really wants to put away Princess Peach.
In the end, will not find the strikeout. Instead, it'll be a slap out over to Yoshi in the infield. Mario has put up 5 innings and he's only let in 4 runs, which against this Monarchs team, I want to stress, is very impressive.
Mario, by all accounts, Mario is a great pitcher. But
he's been putting up an excellent performance, but his team just has not been backing him up. We finally get a non-Mario runner on base, and it's baby Luigi. His baby brother Mario will not follow up the performance, instead hitting a long out over to Princess Peach.
starred playing now led Yoshi will have to look to advance baby Luigi, who at least isn't the first non-Mario on base. Baby DK did manage to make it earlier, but he won't last long.
That is right.
As the pop from Red Yoshi is just a little bit too soft and caught by the Fireball at shortstop before it can breach the infield. And finally, with Mario being taken off the field, Yoshi will take over.
And I think what we are seeing here highlights the importance of good infielders. Because of how much coverage those bros have in the infield, it is very difficult for the FireEggs to find spots on the field they can hit to that are not covered. They have to pass the infield. They have to either weave it through or over the bros and then land before one of the outfielders can snatch it out of the air, and they just have not been able to do that often.
Boomerang Bro with a runner on looks at a bomb. It will barely curve foul though, so a leaf on Yoshi's face. Just look at that grin stretch across it. The other bomb will be hit onto the train tracks as the train passes, and this should be a catch. In fact, the buddy throw almost had a chance of catching out PD Piranha at first. Good attempt.
Good attempt. And I think I sound a little like I'm repeating myself today because of how often I talk about the importance of the infield. I think I've said almost exactly what I just said before. A good hit by Blue Magic Koopa down the center for a single is going to put 2 on, and we now have a runner in scoring position given the right hit by Firebro. But a great jump by Baby Luigi over at first will close the inning for the second scoreless inning that the Eggs have dealt to the Monarchs this game.
Yeah, the score, if it was scoreless innings, would still be against the FireEggs, as they have 5 now, and Mario isn't able to reach first base, despite the line drive attempt trying to push PD Piranha back. And Ash will have to put up something here if K-Rool wants to see the mound. No. Pops it right to Boomerang Bro at second base, and it's another one of those fast innings against the FireEggs, unless Baby DK can reach base for the second time this game. He'll do so.
Looks like Baby DK's gonna do it. Baby DK has actually been pretty good at finding that line up second base that falls before it finds Toadette.
Should I point out also that Toadsworth is still on the pitcher's mound at the bottom of the 6th?
I think you should, Willie, because these are not the kind of performances we normally see from Toadsworth. Of course, batting performances like that from Pegasus are an excellent boon to him, hitting a line drive right into PD Piranha's glove. Might have some interference being heard through my mic right now, and I apologize. Let me know if you need me to mute.
Yeah. Yes, I was wondering what that was. Lawnmower or something?
Vacuum cleaner, actually.
That'll do it. Alright. Well, 2 quick outs at least against a weaker section, but that Blue Toad narrative, hey, might be rated a little bit weaker than some of the other Toads, but still more than enough to get on base. Meanwhile, Peach, the captain who has definitely had the least success in the batting box this entire season, grounds out, and it's a mercifully quick defensive inning for the FireEggs. But they have very few chances left if they want to start digging their way back into this game.
And they have to start now. King K. Rool, Toadsworth is tired. Can you make something happen this game? You're supposed to be one of the best batters in the league.
An inside pitch from Toadsworth should mean a hit. But
And it
no.
will be a hit, but it's weak. It's easily fielded, but okay, maybe not easily. PD Piranha put a little effort into that, but it doesn't even do enough to take Toadsworth off the mound, and he ran over to first to get that out. King K. Rool, are you actually a good batter?
I know that. Oh, Captain Yoshi at least gets on base. So that is the third unique batter, I think, for the FireEggs. Fourth unique batter for the FireEggs to get on base at inning number 7, as I believe Baby Luigi got on base earlier. Baby DK, Mario, and Yoshi are the 4 batters who have gone on. And Baby Luigi does manage to hit that single.
Not a unique batter, but it is enough to finally chase Toadsworth from the game in the bottom of the 7th. An incredible pitching performance by the veteran player, showing these young whippersnappers that he's still got it. But maybe the youngest whippersnappers might have it too, as a long hit from Baby Mario and some POW block support is what it takes to finally drive in a run for the FireEggs.
Poetic, almost, actually, that Yoshi, who is able to score the first run for his team. And now it's Red Yoshi, the starred player, who will have to avoid that infield if he wants to keep this inning going. Does so with a little bit of boost support, and another runner will touch home base. That's the first 2-run inning in this game, and it goes to the FireEggs.
This is exactly what the FireEggs needed to try and get back in on this, and it probably helps them that a lot of these blows are going against Peach. Pitcher morale can run out fast in situations like this. We're going to see if she can make it. She is known to have some of the best stamina in the league, but she's also given up 1, 2, 3, or are we going to see 4? 4 runs, enough to tie up the game since taking the mound.
What a rally, and despite consistent offensive pressure this entire game, it's the Monarchs who, the inning they swapped to Peach, the inning after they swapped to Peach, have fallen and failed to stop 4 runs in 1 inning, allowing the FireEggs to bounce back into this game just like that.
Just like that, Willie. There is still only 1 out for the FireEggs, runner on second, and that's a hit down center. Mario decides he does not want to try and take third, is going to stay at second for the safety.
Fair play from Mario. He knows that the Bows are there and was maybe looking and expecting one of them to make the catch. Speaking of, Firebro and Boomerang Bro will turn the double play at least to end this inning off of Baby DK's, I was going to say bat, but banana. And that does mean that we have a tie game going into the last 2 innings. But it's the Monarchs who are definitely still in the better position, considering that they're about to go into the top of their order. And half the people in the top of the order have already hit solo bombs when needed. PD Piranha has hit a solo bomb. Firebro has hit a solo bomb. And the other 2 were from base running. And
Cannot underestimate the slugging power of these players. Is the train going to be there in time? It won't be, but neither will Pegasus. And there is that solo bomb from PD Piranha. PD Piranha, to borrow your words, making a statement. There is only 1 fraud in this game, and it is not him.
Now it's on the Boomerang Bro and Fire Bro, both of which pending disaster. Yes, unless Magic Koopa hits a double play here off Boomerang Bro's good single, both bros will see the plate this inning, or at least the batter's box this inning. Magic Koopa does try something out to left field, but Ash Ketchum is able to keep a very secure grip on that one. Alright, Fire Bro. Chance denied by Baby Luigi. And the man in green has plenty of hops to shut down the Monarchs offense. But now, it's the FireEggs offense. You want to talk about fraud watch? There's only one way for K. Rool to stay out of it at the end of this game. And as Pegasus grounds out to shortstop, well, the only way out of fraud watch for K. Rool is the tying run of this game off of Peach's pitch. An excellently placed first one for him. Peach will try outside this time. The curveball doesn't escape K-Rool, but it is popped straight to Firebro for another out. VOD watch continues. Yoshi is not able to escape Boomerang Bow, and the Monarchs with a 1-run lead at the end of it all, going into inning number 9. I believe I've been left alone for a moment, perhaps due to. Oh nope!
My,
hey, welcome
my
back.
apologies. Had some disruptions.
Understandable.
I am here to watch this one play out. It is going to come down to this inning. Monarchs, 2 outs left to try and add a little extra to their scoreboard, a little more of a run difference.
I will point out that they had such an excellent slew of sluggers last inning, which means they're going through the dregs this inning at the end of the game, which is not what you want. And 3 up, 3 out will be all the Monarchs can get. The FireEggs, they have to make it through the weakest part of their batting rotation, though. Baby Consistency, Baby Mario, Red Yoshi, and if they can make it through that, they could tie this game. But all Peach has to do is shut down the babies. Baby number 1, Baby Luigi. Baby Consistency. Pops it out to right field for a single. That's 1.
Very deserving of the nickname he inherited from his future self. At least in this game, Baby number 2, Mario hits a long ball. That's going to bring Baby Luigi into third. Runners in scoring position. Runners on the corners. No outs. It's Red Yoshi up at bat. He's looking for a sacrifice fly, anything that can bring the runner in and at least force extra innings, or if nothing else, just don't cause a triple play.
Yeah, more importantly than that, it is almost impossible for the game to end here. Yes, and Red Yoshi does manage to thread the needle. The tying run is brought home, and all the FireEggs need to steal this game is 1 more run in the bottom of the 9th as Peach starts to tire. The tying run, Baby Mario, could be brought in by his older self as Mario faces Peach for the fate of this game. Pitch. Watched. Pitch number 2. Slider attempt. Mario doesn't like that one either with 2 strikes now. Pitch number 3 is a start pitch. He watches it. He strikes out.
Strikeout looking. Peach getting tired, but determined to bring her team into extras after giving up the entire lead. Never mind. She's stepping off. Magic Koopa, close this one out for me, please. Ash Koopa's got to do so against Ash. Ash finds the slap, sends it past Boomerang.
Baby Mario's running home. Baby Mario's running home. Baby Mario touches the plate.
That was a game-winning single. Walk-off single from Ash Ketchum.
What a game as the FireEggs do another classic FireEgg comeback. And after looking so down in the dumps for so long, 1 strong inning is all they need to get back into this game and steal it from the Monarchs 5-6. The man who brings in the winning run, Ash Ketchum, honored with MVP status. Silver Lily, where do we start with this one?
I think we have to start. Full credit to the FireEggs. I think that they just gave Princess Peach one of the worst showings of her career to throw away her team's entire lead. 6 innings of excellent pitching by Toadsworth, gone in a heartbeat, turning it from a 4-run lead to a complete tie to a 1-run loss in 3 innings. That has to feel devastating for the Monarchs, and especially for their captain, who knows how much her team had on the line here.
Peach has traditionally shown up huge. Even she had like a decent enough pitching performance with the strikeout on Mario when it was really needed. I like the comment that Mario was distracted by the kisses. I know that I'd be that down bad. But honestly, I'm almost looking, if you want to talk about fun to watch, one comment that I made about the Monarchs before is that if all their batters come alive, then it's devastating news for anyone that they're up against. And the funny thing is that their batters didn't have that much trouble. PD Piranha, Firebro both hitting solo bombs and keeping up the quota, as it were. But a little bit of trouble from them, as they were solo bombs. There wasn't any runners on base at any time where these batters came alive. It looked like while they were alone, they were able to drive home those hard hits. But when the team needed them, when the bases were loaded, as it was so often at the start of this game, nobody was able to make the big hits necessary for the Monarchs to walk away with this win. Okay, storyline. Going into the last bit of it here. This means that pending like a wipeout for the rookies, the Monarchs probably won't be able to reach that seed number 2 and that bye spot anymore. Now, if the rookies lose earlier today, it'll be mathematically possible, but it will require 2 wins from the Monarchs and 2 losses from the rookies, which we would not expect from the rookies team, but we could see from the Monarchs. They're definitely secure in the playoffs. I'm not sure it's mathematically possible for them to be eliminated at this point. We went over it earlier today. It is not. But that means that they'll be able to kiss a bye goodbye. And should they fall in the quarterfinals in the playoffs, or sorry, in the play-in in the playoffs, well, they might be looking back at this game as maybe a little bit of doubt on their mind. Meanwhile, the FireEggs, the 7th seed, so desperately needed that. And they'll be watching the Flowers game so closely. The Flowers game that is going to come up right now. If the Flowers win it, they'll stay in 6th. If they lose, they're gonna fall into that 7th place slot and replace the FireEggs. What's on your mind, Silver Lily?
I was just having to say that unfortunately, even though I am the musician's home commentator, I will have to step out for at least this game, as it has come time for something else that I need to attend to today, or rather it will in about 10 minutes, and I don't want to leave you by yourself in the middle of the game, so I might as well do it now.
Sounds like an excellent reason to shift the scheduling games around and go to Bowser's Rookies. Do you want to be biting your nails on commentary for the moment where the musicians might seal their fates for the playoffs, or do you want to?
I'd absolutely love to, Willie. So if the teams are willing to take the reschedule for the sake of this commentator, and I am sorry once again that I will have to step out here, then it would be much appreciated, and I will come back as soon as I can.
All right. The fate of the league will be decided in game number 4. Thank you for your time, Silver Lily, and I will see you when you come back.
All right, Willie. This is Silver Lily, signing off.
Ladies and gentlemen, the rookies versus the monsters. The rookies versus the monsters. Titan versus Titan. Last week, the monsters snatched a victory from the jaws of defeat with the home run of all time, wherein Boo managed to force a bobble off John Cena in left field, the bobbling ball resulting in a 2-run homer, and that extra run was what the monsters needed to pick up the game. We've talked about that before. What we haven't addressed, and what you might not know, is that this game, instead of going into the offensively sided Yoshi Park, Bowser has decided that all roads lead to home, as Bowser Jr. versus Bowser will happen at Bowser's Castle. Intimidation tactics, maybe, from Bowser Sr. In any case, the two teams, we've already covered them last Playday. The absolute slugging powerhouse that is the Rookies, relying on jerseys for a solid above average hitter, and with 3 home run caliber hitters in Critter, the starred player Hammerbro, and Brown Critter, all of which are able to turn nothing into magic with just a swing of their bat. Meanwhile, the Monsters, a more balanced team perhaps, with higher highs but lower lows. Boo has been a standout pitcher for them and will have his work more than cut out for him against the Rookies. Bowser is an excellent secondary pitcher, and notably for this game, even this late into the season, the Monsters have significantly swapped up their batting order, bringing in that home run caliber hitter of Red Pianta, or at least believed to be so, up to the first in the batting order. It looks like they're relying on that slap power to get a man on base early, turn Boo and Red Magic Koopa onto base a little bit easier, and then Bowser as cleanup. We'll have to see if it works out for them, or if the rejigger late in the season is the mistake that lets the Rookies seal up second place and push for first. If the Monsters win this game, not only do they secure themselves a bye, they may very well, let me double check here, they will secure themselves first place in the league, and the Rookies will have to battle ever harder if they want to make sure they keep that bye position, depending, of course, on the Musicians' result later today. If the Rookies win this game, strong possibility for them to steal first place in the league out from the Monsters. Will we see another crazy last second savior home run decide this game? Well, if you had to, you would bet on the Rookies for that, wouldn't you, with their batting power? But as we double check, it looks like the players are all set to go. Both captains giving us the thumbs up. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game number 3 of Playday number 12, as the Monsters and the Rookies face off to decide the top seed of this league. That action starts right now. I will, of course, wonder to myself how the Rookies commentator is doing today. Hopefully well. We'll have to see. Bowser's Castle, actually, as a stadium, just double checking it, I believe this is what? Only the second time in, as Bowser Jr. simply pops the, fly to Strawberry, the Red Pianta, at shortstop. I screwed up my thing slightly here. I'm just trying to find the previous Bowser Castle game, and it looks like the last time was actually the Rookies. Double checking as Brock hits a good soft shot up to center for a single. Yes, the only time we've seen Bowser Castle in this league was by the Rookies. It was their first win on Playday number 2 when they defeated the Musicians 20-14. Which is why I'm a little bit confused about what that statue in the outfield is doing as a ball is hit up to center field. Okay, the Fire Breath doesn't hit a Garrick, and the pop is caught out, allowing for 2 outs and a runner on first as Cookie steps to the plate. Her ball attempt up to center field is caught by Bolt, and the Magic Koopa shows off why he deserves to be in that second base position. The Rookies with a donut to start off their game. Now it's Strawberry, who was swapped up to expect stronger slapping potential. who grounds out with a weak hit straight up the middle. Boo, who was our starting batter for the Monsters, now in that second position, have to staring down Cookie. Boo versus Cookie. We saw last game how that went with both putting up solid performances, but it was Cookie who gave her team the early lead with a better start. Boo, though, able to get on base. A surprisingly reliable hitter with that extra star power. If Red Magic Koopa can get on base here, Bowser will have plenty of opportunity, and Red Magic Koopa will get on base. Danger for Boo, as that banana, the double banana and the bomb from King Bomb being very hilarious there. Only one banana was needed for Boo to make his way to second. If you were paying close attention to the base running, Boo thought that ball was caught and was stuck on first, but the banana saved him. Now with 2 runners on, Bowser, the captain, charges, hits that slider square. It won't have enough height to escape this inning, but excellent awareness from Brown Critter means that that fireball won't stop the ball from coming in. It will not, though, be enough to stop Boo from running from second, and with that little bit of extra speed, making it all the way home for the first run in this game. Bowser strikes first, and the battle for the top of the league. Now it's Seeker, the Red Koopa. That ball is hit 2 square out to left field, and it'll end up being a sacrifice. I hesitate to call it a sacrifice fly, but Red Magic Koopa on third is able, especially with that power block assistance, to make it home. And that's 2 runs for the Monsters to start off this game. Double checking the scoreboard from last week. The first run wasn't scored until the second, when it was the Rookies who opened up everything with a 4-run inning. The Monsters looking to repeat that pressure, as with a run on first, run on second, 2 outs, Salamander, the Red Critter, steps up but is caught out by Critter. That'll mean the Monsters will have to settle for 2. It's a good start, but when you have such an offensive powerhouse like the Rookies, especially when Hammerbro winds up early, you gotta wonder if it's good enough. Boo here. 1 curveball, 2 curveball. Second curveball is hit. It's only a slap. It'll allow Hammerbro to reach first, and he'll be set up for Brown Critter 3 batters from now. Bouncer, meanwhile, will try to advance the runner, and he does, successfully navigating that ball up center field for runner on first, runner on second, and no outs. If does not screw up here, that means that the team will be in excellent position for Brown Critter. Magic Koopa manages to reel that ball in before it can escape the infield for 1 out, but that means the runners on second and third will be safe as Brown Critter lines up. A sacrifice fly is all that's needed here for a run, but the curveball catches him on the outside. Second pitch. Now the curveball, this one was not far enough outside. Agaric is able to keep his glove on the ball, and hesitation from Bouncer doesn't allow him to advance to second, but still, the sacrifice from Brown Critter lets the first run for the Rookies come home. That was Hammerbro, I believe, as the first one to touch base for his team. Now John Cena, pressure on the man in brown after last week's performance. Boo tries a second curveball, but the weaker hit from John Cena escapes into the outfield, and bad fielding from Agaric and from Thermite. I think that maybe that buddy throw would have allowed them to catch out the run at home, but instead Thermite chooses to throw it to second, and that misplay in the outfield lets the Rookies tie this game. There's still 2 outs now, and I believe Bowser Jr. was not very successful last attempt. I believe he popped out to Strawberry at his first at-bat. This time he'll pop out to the second baseman, Bolt, proving to be a defensive cornerstone for his team as he locks down the last out and keeps the game tied. Now it's Elric and Agaric, excellent combination of names there actually, who will open up the inning for this team. Good slap from Elric straight up the middle means that he'll net a single. We cannot show what just happened to Brown Critter on a live broadcast, Anyone else really nervous about what that Fire Breath means? Because I'm not sure we've seen it yet. Agark does manage to sneak it up the center. And that'll mean we have a runner on first, runner on second, safe, as Strawberry steps up to the plate and the monsters are back to the top of the order. Now, Strawberry and the Piantas in general have not proven themselves to be reliable sluggers. No, it's their slap hitting, which earned them such a strong rating in spring training. And that does mean that Strawberry will load up the bases as Boo steps up to the plate. Blue has been a very reliable hitter for the Monsters the last couple of games, and we'll see whether or not that continues. The good pop out to right field. Elric will run home. Agark will follow. Strawberry kept honest at second. The laser beam from the Hammerbro at second base is not enough, and 2 runners brought in by that soft pop to right field to regain the Monsters a 2-run lead. When his Cookie lasted so long last game, she's tied out in the bottom of the second this one. And we'll have to see how much longer the starting pitcher for the rookies lasts, as Critter is able to turn the double play with an excellent catch, and Strawberry, despite their slapping ability, is not nearly fast enough to tag up before Critter turns that defensive play. Bowser now, less to work with on the bases than his first appearance, but a stronger hit straight up the middle. Who will be the one to reach it? It looks like it's... No, it bounces off the back wall. It looked like it was going to land right in the glove of Brown Critter, but no. Without the extra hustle from the Mies, bounced off the back wall just out of his grasp, and what was a pop fly out turns into a double to bring the 3rd run of the inning home. Bowser Jr. now brought in. His curveballs have been devastating to so many batters in this league, but is not able to fool out Seeker. Is able to find the line between the shortstop and third baseman for a single. 3 runs, still, it's not a lot. As Thermite will come to the plate, the last batter before that devastating bat of Salamander, and he'll have to try and fail to hit through a star pitch from Bowser Jr. At the end of the second, it looks like we're on pace for a very high-scoring game between both teams. The Hokies had an excellent inning number 1, even with only 2 runs, still got very far through their rotation. Inning number 2. Even with only 2 runs, they still got super far through the rotation, so we expect that batting power to hold now as the first batter pops it to Bolt at second base for the first out. Critter, though, drills one deep, and the Fire Breath interferes with the outfielders. Despite that, Agark and Thermite able to make it by an inch. And what was almost field interference to stop the play turned into a body catch, and Roasted Mushrooms still manage to make the play. Now it's Cookie. She's going to want to get on base so that Hammerbro, the super slugger for the rookies, has something to work with, and she does. Boo assistance here? No, not used. Cookie gets the double regardless. Excellent base running from the elder stateswoman. Now it's Hammerbro, who charges up against a star pitch attempt from Boo, but isn't able to get enough to launch it out of the park. Instead, bomb assistance and fire assistance causes Elric to run wide. Hammerbro stays at second, though. He sees the ball in left field and doesn't want to make the risk to go for third. I think he could have made it, but I'm thinking he'll be more than happy with driving a runner home and making a double, assisted greatly by items and by field interference in the outfield. Roasted gator is apparently very tasty. And apparently they make very good handbags. Boo, also, for his team, does not last very long. Taken off the batter's mound at the top of the 3rd, and it's Bowser who comes in firing. Intimidation tactics with Hammerbro on second as 1 star pitch and a fastball. The bouncer still doesn't evade Thermite's glove, as the man in the right field catches it out, and the rookies are able to only put up 1 at the top of the 3rd. Still though, incredible damage. They managed to get the starting pitcher of Boo out of there early. And a bonk from Salamander. The POW block is not going to be enough to stop that pop fly from being safely caught by Hammerbro. Excuse me. Anyway, 1 run from the rookies is, well, all good news for them if they can shut down the Monsters' offense. And with Salamander not getting a good hit, Elric being caught out by the 3rd baseman, and Agaric the last batter before we're back to the top. If you're a Monsters fan, I think you almost want Agaric to get out here so that you'll be set up well for the next inning. Instead, well, the Toad does hit a soft pop out to center field, which does manage to get him a single. Now it's Red Pianta, Strawberry. Runner on first, so he'll have to avoid not just an out at first, but an out at second. But the slap hit from Strawberry is more than enough to secure a single. Now a weaker section of the early batting. Boo and Magic Cooper both step up to the plate, but Boo drills it deep. We should see this caught out. Yes, the fireball not only isn't there in time, but misses the target. And Brown Critter turns the play to stop the Monsters from scoring any points this inning. Now it's to set up for Brown Critter later. She's unfortunately caught out by Strawberry at shortstop, so Brown Critter will be facing it alone. Have we seen a home run so far this game? Am I silly? We haven't seen a home run so far this game, have we? Brown Critter tries, wants to stop that, but no. His hit is a little bit too weak, and the shell attempt is not enough to stop Agaric and Elric from fielding that ball. John Cena charges early against the Captain Bowser, watches 1 strike go by, hits the second. Good on John Cena. You don't want to end up with 2 strikes against a Bowser with 5 stars. Those star pitches will guarantee a 3rd strike real quick. Now it's Bowser against Bowser Jr. Runner on first, 2 outs. Bowser does not want his son to have any success here, so he'll force a strike with the first pitch. Second pitch, it's a simple fastball down the middle, and it's more than enough for Bowser Jr. to hit it out to right field, scare the runner on first, runner on second for Brock. 2 outs still as Brock charges early, but only watches the first pitch. Bowser really needs this out now if he wants to have some safety here, but no. Not only an excellent hit from Brock, but an excellent boo from Brock. Forces not just 1, but 2 runners in. And the double from Brock, assisted by the boo item, ties this game. Despite the slugging potential of both teams, it looks like small ball and item assistance will be the name of the game today. Critter, though, one of those home run candidate hitters, charges early and faces a slider, just watches it slide past him. Still a runner on second, he wants a deep hit. Bowser knows it. He'll trick out that charge hit with a star pitch. 3rd pitch, star pitch from Bowser. And after an excellent throw and maybe an attempt from Critter to force the beanball there. Critter, I believe, was the only batter in Grand Slam Galaxy history to get hit by a beanball. That was last Playday. Throws himself to try to force the beanball, but no, it's just a strikeout off Bowser's star pitch. Rookies, though, more than happy to tie the game as we enter the bottom of the 4th. They're the ones with maybe a stronger ability to pitch heading later into this game, as Bolt knocks a single out to right field. If Bowser or Bowser Jr. ties out early, it could mean disaster for these teams, or maybe this is the field where they would want it to happen. The POW block will break out the double play, but Bolt will have to be the sacrifice for the Monsters, as he's caught out on second. Now it's Seeker. Seeker and Thermite, who will have to try to keep this magic going for Salamander. Deep hit from Seeker on the attempt to go out, but the defense is there more than in time, and Brown Critter and will turn that buddy jump to stop the home run attempt. Excellent attempt from Seeker. You don't see the man go for deep hits that often. But on this field, I almost wonder if it's better to not go for those hero plays. Bowser still at first with 2 outs. He really wants Thermite to get on base safely here to line up for Salamander next. The line drive to center, caught out by Brown Critter, and no. Salamander will be the starting batter next inning for the Monsters. Meanwhile, the Rookies in an excellent position to tear ahead in this game. Cookie, the ever-reliable hitter. Right before Hammer Bro up next with item support too. She charges early, knocks it out to center field, and the Boo item assistance means that she will reach scoring position at second. Lead run on second base for Hammer Bro. Has not been able to make good contact yet, but we all know that Hammer Bro has more than enough in him for a devastating hit, but no! The slap hit attempt, maybe listening in on commentary and hearing the advice of Small Ball, caught out by Strawberry at shortstop, and just like that, Strawberry turns the double play with Bolt. That's 2 outs against the Rookies. Bouncer manages to make it to first off a single, but we'll have to do something here if Brown Critter is going to see the plate this inning. She's charging early and is tricked out by that star pitch from Bowser. Attempts the fastball, but no, doesn't clear Bolt's field of gravity. In a dangerous position against the Monsters, cleared away, and the Rookies go scoreless for the first time since inning 1. Meanwhile, the Monsters have had plenty of trouble scoring ever since their hot start. They've been shut down 2 innings in a row ever since Bowser Jr. stepped up to the mound. And Salamander isn't going to get much luck either, as a weak hit off the tip of his bat grounds out from the third baseman. Elric now. We'll have to see what he's able to do against a star pitch from Bowser Jr. Charges. Good contact, but is not able to get under that one. But she is able to throw it to first fast enough to force the out. Good awareness from there. Normally, we see the right fielder throw it to the second baseman who routes it to first, and it's usually too slow. But no. Learning from the right fielder. Regardless now, 2 outs, top of the order. Strawberry again. Charges, actually, but elects not to swing on the first pitch. We expect a slap, and that's what we'll get. The slap out to left field allows Agaric to make the run for third. Surprising play from the fast-toed base runner. Manages to get him all the way to third base, and that is excellent. If Boo can get a single here, which he will. The solid hit, and taking a page out of the Rookie's book, the Boo item usage with additional fire interference. That's a triple from Boo off of item play, excellent aim, and field interference in the outfield. Strawberry, of all players, is able to round it from first to third and make it home, giving Boo, was that 2 runs on that play? Yeah, Agaric and Strawberry both touched home, and the Monsters out now to a 2-run lead. It's Bolt, who almost ends the inning with a line drive that barely stays out of the third baseman's glove. The second attempt, a rare charge attempt from Bolt, but even a charge doesn't hit it too deep. It's good enough for a single and to bring the Boo at third home. That's a 3-run inning for the Monsters. Where did this come from? That is not what we were expecting from this team. Especially with Bowser up to the plate now, we still haven't seen a huge slugger single, home run. And the star pitch from Brown Critter, who I didn't even notice got swapped up onto the pitcher's mound in the middle of all that. I was so distracted by the plays that it's the Rookies who have their pitching break first. Maybe overconfidence from the Monsters there as Bowser hits it right to second base and Hammer Bro for the 3rd out of the inning. But if you're a Monsters fan, you're more than happy to see that star pitcher forced off the mound early. Still though, plenty of time. We've seen the fate of a game turn in a single inning earlier this Playday as the Fireballs FireEggs, excuse me, nailed a 4-run inning. And if anyone's capable of that type of performance, it's, well, the rookies, as they also start to tire out Bowser. And with a runner on first, John Cena barely evades the catch from Bolt. I think Brown Critter thought that catch was guaranteed and started running back to first, but the fact it landed fair meant he got caught out at second. Same result either way, 1 out, runner on first. John Cena does manage to make it to second pretty safely off of a Bowser Jr. single. And if Bowser can't clear away some of these runners quickly, we have a chance of loaded bases for Critter next bat if Bowser can't force something bad here. 2 strikes now. He could force a strikeout with a star pitch, and he will. But not terrible news for the rookies, as that does mean that Critter will have a runner on first, runner on second to work with, and Bowser's taken off the mound. That means even more crucially that the second baseman is weakened. Bolt, no longer in that crucial spot, means that side of the field will be a little bit weaker, though no one will tell Bowser that. And item interference helps out the rookies this time, as fire and power block is all you need for a double from Critter to allow both John Cena and Bowser Jr. to safely reach home. Attempt on the buddy throw from Agaric and from Elric, but it's not nearly enough. And Critter tags up second base. Only the 1-run game now as Bolt already starts to tire. We saw an admirable pitching attempt from him last game, as Bowser proves himself in that second base position and manages to snag that ball out of the air. Good job from the captain, keeping it to a 1-run game. Still though, the further the monsters get eroded, especially if Bolt is put onto third base again, or heaven forfend, Bolt is put into the outfield, well, we could see a much weaker defense from the monsters. Offense is looking fine though, as Seeker knocks that ball straight up the center for a good single. Thermite now will try to set up for Salamander. The slap hit goes straight to Boomerang Bro though, and Boomerang Bro doesn't even need to reel that one in. He'll simply toss it to first for the double play. Now Salamander facing down Brown Critter. It's good contact on the ball, but not good enough, as Bowser Jr. casually makes the catch and forces the monsters to have nothing coming out of the bottom of the 6th. The rookies are only behind by 1, and if there's a chance for them to nail it now, it's Hammer Bro against a tired Bolt. He'll watch the first pitch. The curveball glides its way straight down the middle. Slider on the outside. Good contact. It's deep. I'm not sure Gark makes it there in time. Not even close. As finally, an absolute dinger of a home run missile from Hammer Bro escapes the bounds of Bowser's castle. No one's going home with that home run ball as it falls into the lava. And Bolt is taken off the mound, which spells even more disaster for the monsters' defense. Agaric from center field brought in to pitch. That does mean, notably, that outfield synergy isn't disrupted, but Bolt is a much slower runner than Agaric and will have a lot more difficult of a time getting under those home run balls. Regardless, hits it to Bowser on a ground out, allows the double play, and also forces bounce out of here. Brown Critter with a chance for a home run for the lead. Bolt and Thermite are able to get under that one though, and Bolt, after being swapped to the outfield, makes the buddy catch to make sure that this stays a tied game. What a pose. What an excellent pose. Wow, indeed. Tied going into the 7th inning stretch. Elric, Agaric, Strawberry, all fine slap hitters if they can get on base. And they're facing Brown Critter, who's not known to be the best pitcher in this league. Elric is not able to escape Critter, though, at shortstop, and the diving play from the, well, Lizard guarantees the first out of the inning. Agaric now Toad's storyline continues with a good slap out to right field. Oh, sorry. Oh. We'll field that to keep it a single. No item interference, no boo. Laying some weird triple. But instead, Strawberry hits it to right field as well. And thankfully, Agaric is more than fast enough and Strawberry barely fast enough to make sure they tag up safely. First and second base runners. Boo. Another star hit results in a slap from Boo, and we have loaded bases as Brown Critter starts to get frustrated and is taken off the mound. John Cena, who had trouble last time, brought in, notably... Oh, I didn't even notice. Outfield chemistry has been in absolute shambles ever since Bowser Jr. was brought out to center field and Brown Critter was brought in. That just means that there's been no outfield chemistry for the rookies this entire time. Chemistry maintained for the monsters, but still, turns out that despite all that, it was the rookies who scored the first home run. I need to pay more attention. Especially paying more attention to the fact that Strawberry makes a good sliding play to catch out John Cena for the first out of this inning. That does mean that Bowser Jr., top of the order, will be back up, but he'll be caught and thrown out by Strawberry, again at shortstop. We're tied at 8-8 at the top of the 8th, and the rookies will get a runner on as Bowser finds the hole in the middle to secure a single. Critter, though, chance to hop on the home run bandwagon, will not be able to do so, but will manage to knock it all the way out to center field, and the go-ahead run of Bouncer advances to third. Slap hitter Cookie with a chance to do incredible damage against the monsters here. Runner on the corners, Agaric staring her down. It's a slow ball that escapes Strawberry's grasp and lets the go-ahead run of Bouncer safely hit home. Even more devastatingly for the monsters, that means that Hammer Bro, who last inning hit an incredible home run, is up with 2 runners on. If he hits it deep, and he charges and hits it deep, Bolt, will you be fast enough? Bolt and Elric miss it, and it's a 3-run homer. The starred Hammer Bro is more than enough to not just secure his team the first home run, but the second home run in this game, driving home 3 more runs and a 4-run lead for the rookies. It's now up to the monsters as Red Pianta is subbed in to pitch and close. They need to make sure that Hammer Bro doesn't see the plate again this game. And again, it's a 4-run swing of an inning that might just seal another game on Playday number 12. Bouncer pops it, and Agaric fulfills his role at shortstop admirably to catch it. But the monsters in deep trouble. Of all the hitters you would want up in this situation, Bowser is probably the best in terms of hitting a home run. But if he does, it'll be a solo shot dinger, and he hasn't proven to be that effective so far this game. He watches the first one, whiffs on the second. John Cena trying an inside slider, but no. Bowser hits it barely fair, avoiding Bowser Jr.'s glove by inches, and reaches first. Seeker and Thermite, all eyes on them. If they can just get on base safely and avoid this infield, but no. Critter and Hammer Bro turn the double play to turn this bad situation into a disaster for the monsters. That banana almost stopping the double play, but not good enough. Thermite now needs to get on base to set up for Salamander. He does hit it straight up the middle. That does mean it'll be a single. If it's a home run from Salamander here, then the monsters could very well still be in this game. If it's a single and they're able to at least start driving in runs, the monsters could very well be in this game. If Salamander cannot produce here, deep hit up the center, there's no chemistry, but no item usage, means that it's an easy catch, and the monsters are in deep trouble. If they want to pull it back in the bottom of the 9th, they'll need to get through 5, 6 5 slap hitters to get back to a home run caliber hitter. Good news for them, though, at least, is pops it to shortstop. That's the first out in the top of the 9th. Brown Critter. Can he make it a 5-run lead for the rookies? Watches the first pitch. Strawberry. I'm not sure that they're pitched before in Grand Slam Galaxy. Now in a very important game for them, Brown Critter hits it foul. That means a second strike. Counts at 1-2. Bullet from Brown Critter, again assisted by a boo. We've seen those boo items play such a huge role in this game. That means that it'll be a double for Brown Critter. John Cena now. Star hit out to right field. Doesn't get all of it though. And a page taken out of the rookie's book as Thermite throws it directly to first for the second out. Bowser Jr. now. With a chance to extend this lead for his team, soft hit out to right field will do just that as Brown Critter safely reaches home and another home run. Nope, sorry. It's Brock before Critter steps up. 5-run lead for the rookies. Can they extend it? The ball barely curves foul in what would have no doubt been a devastating double, and the second attempt is caught out by Agaric. All pressure on the Monsters. No strong hitters for them as they have been completely unable to take advantage of the weakened rookies' outfield. Elric, Agaric to get to the top of the order. They need to avoid this infield now more than ever. Elric watches the first pitch. Problem with the rookies is that also having so many jerseys on their team does mean they have a slew of extra pitchers, but the boo item, which has come up so often in this game, will mean that Elric reaches second off a double. Now it's Agaric. Very low risk of a double play here, but always still possible. But no. The Toad hits the ball safely out to center field, and we reach runners on the corners with no outs as Strawberry, the top of the order, comes up. Slap hitter should be able to bring in a run here, but devastatingly weak hit. Only allows 1 run in, and Strawberry in their new batting position possibly folds when the team needs them most. It does bring 1 run in, but it doesn't matter as Boo pops it to the second baseman. Hammerbro catches that one out, and the rookies will be the second team in Grand Slam Galaxy to get a win over the Monsters, 13-9 on Bowser's Castle. Anyone else sweating a little bit for the rookies there at that last bit? Me? No? Just me? Just me? Just me? Regardless, that top seed is no longer in reach for the Monsters. Also very notably, I think with that, yeah, the rookies have all but secured that they'll be in second seed, which means that pending a disastrous end series from the rookies where they lose both games, it looks like Monsters and rookies will be at least our first and second seed heading into the postseason. The only question that we have to ask now is which team will be on top. Excellent play from the rookies to secure that 13-9 lead. All facets of the team spinning up well in a admittedly very weird game, as both teams' starting pitches fall very early. The Monsters showing plenty of slapping potential, but despite a weakened outfield, they're never able to take advantage of it. It makes you wonder whether the Monsters really have any sluggers that they can count on when they need it most, especially heading late into this season. Talking about the Monsters first, as they're the team that lost. Bolt with an incredible game. Bolt and Agaric, actually, both with 2 very, very good games, lining it up for their team. Bolt with excellent batting and fielding, acting as good enough on that second base to reel in those long haul balls. And fair enough in the outfield, still not breaking up chemistry for the Monsters, means that they were able to catch at least 1 potential home run hit. Agaric also in that center field position was very, very important, and the slap hit from both of them came up big when their team needed them. The story of the Monsters' loss today really comes down to the failure of the sluggers. Bowser, Salamander, neither of them able to hit big home run dingers when it's needed of them. And Strawberry finally acknowledged to not be the home run hitter that they are. Moved up forward, did a pretty fine job in that early spot, but absolutely did not exactly hit any bombs when the team needed them. Meanwhile, story for the rookies. Yeah. Game won by 2 home runs. The only home runs that we saw that game were off the bat of Hammer Bro. 4 points off that hammer. And would you look at that? The rookies won by a 4-run lead. Hammer Bro, one of the most devastating batters to watch in this entire league, clutches out the game for his team and notches the 2nd loss for the Monsters. We're gonna take a quick break of 5 minutes as we're gonna take a quick break of 5 minutes. Silver Lily will need a second to get back and be ready to rejoin commentary. So while we wait for her, I'm actually gonna do a little bit of a different thing. I'm gonna start looking ahead to next season. So let's talk about synergy. Specifically, let's talk about the synergy chart from Mario Super Sluggers. That's right. 1 second. Always remember that if a file is a web PNG, you can just swap the save as type to all, rename it to be a PNG, and it'll work and it'll be a PNG. That will also maintain transparency if you're saving it off of the web. This is not a transparent image that I'm bringing up, but you know, this is something that I yell every single time because everyone complains. They see a file and they're like,
I'm back.
Never mind. I guess we're going into game number 4. Welcome back, Silver Lily.
Hello again, and sorry for my unceremonious arrival. I was not quite certain when I'd be able to get back, which is why I gave you that 10-minute estimate. And then it ended up being a lot shorter than that, thankfully.
Well, that's fine. Always remember, kids, this advice from Commissioner William. If it's a WebP file, it can be saved as a PNG manually. Now, we'll head into game number 4 of this Playday. As less on the line now, after that game for the Monsters vs. Rookies, if you missed all of it, Silver Lily, the Rookies won it off 2 home runs from Hammer Bro, bringing in 4 runs over the course of the game. Final score of 13-9. No other home run dingers.
Bits and pieces, Willie. It was a very close game for a while there. I saw when it was tied 8-8, decently late in the game, and then it seemed like the Rookies had a couple explosive innings that just pulled things away in their favor.
It really was just Hammer Bro coming up big when his team needed it. I mean, we talked earlier about the Monarchs not being able to pull out home runs when their team needed it, despite the bases being loaded. And Hammer Bro, with 2 on, knocked a bomb out of the park and put all hopes for the game just to dust like that. Otherwise, it would have been still a victory, but a 1-run victory instead of 4. Now, let's go into, admittedly, a lower stakes game. The Musicians are secure for the playoffs, are almost secure for the playoffs at this point. This win will technically be needed to 100% secure them, but it'll take a hell of a loss for them to not get it now. They are almost certainly denied from getting that bye position by the Rookies win. The Rookies winning that game does mean that they would need to completely crash out at the end of the season in order for the Musicians to make a run at second. Still, regardless, the Flowers in a lot more pressure here as currently, with the FireEggs win, they are the team that's not mathematically eliminated yet that is the lowest in the standings. If they lose here, they will be going into the last series of the season 1 win down. And in 7th place, which as a reminder, even though we've been saying it, 7th place, eliminated. It's only place 1 through 6 that makes it to the playoffs.
That is true, Willie. I do not see the rosters right now, by the way.
How do you mean? Oh, I see what you mean. Don't worry about that. Let me just get that fixed real quick. Weird. 1 second. There we go. Doesn't really matter. Okay. So,
All right, thank you very much.
Flowers versus the Musicians. On, let's see, home field advantage for this game. After last game, the Musicians picked it up in a 7-8 barn burner of a game. They now get home field advantage as we head to Wario City Night. Now, I'm gonna point out right now that the Flowers have been to Wario City, I think, pretty often. They went to Wario City last series against the Spitballs, lost it 4-10. They went to Wario City series 3 against the series 3 against the Bows, won that game, and they went to Wario City against the Monsters, lost that game. So they've been to Wario City 3 times so far, and have a 1-2 record, though I will point out that their win is the most recent game, so fair play to them if they want to make a run at it. What is a storyline that you want to highlight going into this game, Silver Lily?
For these two teams, well, I'm not certain, Willie. I do think... I'm afraid I don't have one prepared, and nothing's immediately jumping to mind. These teams are about as different as they can get in terms of how they've performed this season, while still being competitive. I do think...
Go ahead.
Nah, whatever it was, I just lost it anyway.
Well, don't worry. I mean, I kind of covered everything with the playoffs woes for the Flowers. The Musicians basically playing for seeding at this point. Let's hope that they don't take that as any reason to fall when they are needed. But we are all set to begin and to seal up Playday number 12 in Grand Slam Galaxy. The Flowers versus the Musicians. And the Flowers trying to grasp on to playoff contention starts right now. You know, we're going to have to talk at some point about scheduling for the playoffs, because it'll probably be played over 2 days. The 2 play-ins, which will be a best of 3. The 2 semifinals, which will be best of 3. And then the finals, which will be a best of 5, meaning that potentially the playoffs in Grand Slam Galaxy could take at maximum 17 games, whereas normally so even if we split that into the most realistic situation as a double play is hit off Mr. Consistency, Light Blue Yoshi manages to keep their tongue on the ball.
I do think I have a storyline I want to highlight for these two teams, Willie, and it is Captain Daisy and Sub-Captain DK, and just their differences in performance, how important they are for their team's chances of success, and how DK has really stepped it up recently, but Daisy has started to fall a little behind.
You know, it's important to note that also with DK finally getting starred player buffed, to allow him to absolutely knock Dingus out of the park, but Daisy being starred basically for the entire season. Let's see. I'm going to take advantage to update the scoreboard in the middle of this game, so I don't have to worry about it afterwards. After Light Blue Yoshi is involved in all 3 outs against the Flowers this inning and keeps them scoreless at the top of the first.
That's why they call him Boshi the Rock out there on second base.
Do I have to call him that?
I told you I wasn't joking about that.
I really didn't know that's what you were referring to. Okay. Tato starts out the offense for her team with a solid single out to right field, and Funky Kong wants to get the scoreboard started early with a deep, devastating bomb hit to bring in 2 runs for the Musicians.
And I can tell you hits like that are why the Musicians were excited to go to Wario City for the first time in this entire season. No other team had taken them there, and they hadn't been able to, or they had not chosen it as their own park choice for most of the season. That changed today. Oof, Blue Critter recovering just in time to get that out onto Tiny Kong. But this is the Musicians' first appearance on Wario Stadium, and one of the reasons they wanted to come here was because the dimensions are so good for their sluggers, for their star player, Sub-Captain Donkey Kong, and for not Tiny, Funky Kong, another excellent performer for the team.
Well, definitely proving it with 2 home runs in the bottom of the first. More than doing damage against these players. I mean, 3-run inning, okay. A 3-run inning on such a home run friendly stadium honestly could be a lot worse, as Captain Miku grounds out to the blue Pianta at shortstop and ends it. A 3-run lead, as we've seen already today, isn't too much, and at least it's early. Plenty of time for the Flowers to try to pick up in this performance if they can start their offense, which has been the problem for them a lot this season.
We actually saw right there what you were talking about in our other Wario City game of the day, that sometimes the arrows can work in the fielder's favor, bouncing the ball right into Captain Miku's glove and allowing her to send it in earlier and potentially prevent a double. That'll be a nice long hit from Blue Yoshi for a single out in the left field. An excellent at-bat from him.
Baby Daisy trying to prove her worth though, but she'll hit straight into Miku to end the inning for the Flowers and not allow them to get any points on the scoreboard after 2. Now reliability will have to be on them to stop this Musician's offense from kicking it back up again. We've seen some devastating home runs already. If they're able to get a few runners on first, well, they can start running away from the game early.
A long hit from Boshi, that was from Tojima. I don't know how I got mixed up in the lineup that bad, but it was a long hit from Tojima. Baby Daisy in the right position to catch it, and it looks like this long and slow ball from YP is gonna be easy fodder for that outfield as well.
A good attempt, but not good enough. You gotta hit it extra hard and extra fast to escape the Flowers outfield. Now, Daisy trying to do her best to absolutely seal away this inning, and does so with a little bit of help from Blue Critter. 3 up, 3 out for the Musicians.
But that will mean that the Musicians are back up to the top of their lineup when we get to the bottom of the third. However, first it is the very end and then the top of the Flowers lineup to see if they can break through the Musicians' defense. It's not going to start off like that with Light Pink Yoshi hitting it out to the Yoshi, the Boshi, in second base.
Kind of shows the impact of these home runs. We talked earlier when it was Monarchs versus FireEggs, how the FireEggs were not just low, were like fine on the scoreboard, but clearly getting outperformed offensively because the position in the batting order was so different. Meanwhile, Flowers and Musicians in relatively similar positions in the batting order, but still, those home runs might not get batters through the order, but get points on the scoreboard really, really efficiently. Who would have known? Hitting a home run, good thing to do in baseball.
Technically the most efficient way to score a point.
Now
we're going to see our first star pitch of the game coming from Captain Daisy. This is known to get broken up easily by items, and we're going to see it again here. The blue critter tackles the shell to avoid getting stunned, but still falls out of position and drops the ball, allowing an easy single for Tato.
The fastball from Daisy doesn't allow Funky Kong to hit the ball out of the park, but it'll still allow a double, especially with field interference. For the man in the bandana, and with 2 runners in scoring position, even if they get out Tiny Kong no problem, the Flowers are going to have a lot of problems with home run slugger DK coming up. But no, they don't even get Tiny Kong out no problems. Instead, her pop to center field lets the runner on third, Tato, safely reach home.
And we got to see a little bit of the difference between Wario City day and night in Funky Kong's at bat. Daisy going for another star pitch. It's gonna go long and high, but here's more item support. Bananas drop in, but they'll also interrupt Tiny Kong.
Throw the ball!
Blue Yoshi isn't throwing it. Finally decides to do so. But that 1 out, 1 run single will bring Daisy off the mound and bring in Luigi as reliever.
It's very notable, actually, that of all teams for that type of star pitch, as an excellent double play is made, it looked like the ball was going to go foul, but it looked like also Tyler 1 kind of snagged it out before it counted and then made the double play regardless. Good awareness from him. But it's notable that with the Kong family being so integral to this musician's team and having such good chemistry, you're going to find a hard time finding a hole in that chemistry to employ that type of star pitch.
There are exactly 2 holes in their chemistry for the item support. And that is when Tojima steps up to the plate, or rather, it is Captain Miku does not get item support because she does not have chemistry with Tojima, and then YP does not have chemistry with Boshi the Rock.
Alright, well, good start to this inning for the Flowers. Runner on first, runner on second, but in the back part of their batting order, it's up on these weaker batters to capitalize, and Dark Blue Yoshi does exactly that with a good single up the middle. Bases loaded for, let me check my notes here, Baby Daisy. I will stop making that joke when it stops being funny.
Let's see if Tato can get out of the jam. Baby Daisy hits it right over to Yellow Pianta, who fields it over to Boshi the Rock to send the inning home. That's how it goes.
And the Flowers are kept off the scoreboard for 4 innings in a row. Reminds me of the earlier game for the Monarchs versus the FireEggs, but whereas the FireEggs were able to stage a massive inning comeback, in part because the Monarchs were good, but steady and slow, and that slow progression was too slow and allowed the FireEggs to catch up. The musicians on this field are just all gas and constantly putting terrible pressure on this defensive team.
Mr. Consistency trying to make good use of his curveball here, and will actually manage to get some bad contact from YP on that hit. The blue Pianta diving to make the out at second and immediately turn it over to first for the double play.
Okay. Now at least, top of the order, but 1 out already against them for the Flowers. You want to see Coach Daisy start to hit... Captain Daisy start to hit some of these bombs that she was known for earlier in the season is not seen so far. Mr. Consistency, at least, with a good chance to advance the captain. Not able to do so against Boshi the Rock, and the double play quickly ends the inning for the Flowers.
Well, Daisy has been able to get on base this game. Her team has not been able to make anything of it yet. We are now going to see Boshi the Rock, hero of that last half inning, stepping up to the plate. Let's see if he can make any offensive action happen.
Nope.
Cannot.
And we're back to the top of the order. Now it's Mr. Consistency's turn to try to face down this such overwhelmingly powerful offense from the Musicians, who have more than proved themselves early in this game, but can they keep up the timeline here? Well, it looks so, as both Tato and Funky Kong hit good singles to get themselves on base. Pending a double play from Tiny, I was gonna say pending a double play from Tiny Kong, this inning is gonna go on into Donkey Kong. However, Conway, it is Tiny Kong, so
Tiny Kong has a better performance than you might expect, Billy. She's actually been pretty crucial to the team's offense on a number of occasions.
I want to see a close-up of, oh no, a deep hit from Tiny Kong. It's a little too slow to escape the outfield, and the runners don't take advantage of it for a sack, but that does mean that the inning stays going, and that Donkey Kong will come up with 2 runners on and the glove of the league.
Donkey Kong, one of the biggest multi-threat players in the league. Excellent batter, excellent pitcher. The team's put the full weight of star power behind him. Let's see if he can make it happen here. That is going to be a line drive. It'll just be a fair ball bouncing off the back of the outfield, the back wall of the outfield, just above Baby Daisy's head, but it will bring in Tato with a RBI single. And
right.
Dixie Kong slaps one up the center to keep the rally going.
Now pressure is on for the Flowers. They've already let up 1 run in this inning, and they need to secure an out here to stop 2 more going in off a hit to the outfield, and they will do just that. The hit from Captain Miku goes right to Blue Pianta at shortstop, and the Musicians are stopped. Actually, looking at the scoreboard, 3-0-2-0-1. Hilarious. That starting offense...
Are they running out of gas, or are they counting down, Willie? I guess we're gonna find out over the next few innings.
Alright. Good chance here from the Flowers, as they are in the strongest part of their batting lineup, maybe, with Blue Critter starting off the inning with a good single. Tyler 1 now. Chance to keep that rally, or to really start that rally, and does so with another good single. The pow block doesn't really accomplish much. It just sort of trips up Dixie Kong, and Blue Pianta steps up to the plate now.
Dangerous
Charges.
Player at the bat with a charge that is gonna swing foul. But you could see the Kong scrambling to make sure they were there just in case it didn't. That's gonna be another fair ball out to center for another single. Bases loaded, no outs. Soda, what do? Star pitch.
Finds the hole between first and second
Tato.
baseman.
But
Okay.
it will ultimately be just a sacrifice and advance the runners, which when you got the bases loaded, that's all you need to score, but will be an out.
Dark Blue Yoshi hitting that straight to the left fielder. 2 outs now, as Baby Daisy, who it has been pointed out now, has already hit a home run on this field. Hits it deep. I believe that will not be nearly enough, though, as Dixie Kong and Miku are there, make the catch, and stop the rally attempt from the Flowers.
It's not quite a noble tiger, but a bases loaded, no out situation turns only into a single run for the Flowers, and it was off a sacrifice hit.
What's a noble tiger?
No outspaces loaded ends in team incapable of getting easy runs.
Of course. Well, Tojima.
Baseball has some very stupid stats.
They keep track of loaded tigers per team.
They will keep track of noble tiger situations. I am ashamed to say the Mariners ended up in one just the other night.
Did they win?
They did not.
No! The streak is broken.
But their streak was broken for a while. What they still have a chance at is maintaining their series win streak, because that was only the first game of the series.
All right. Well, now the Flowers proving themselves
very
more than
impressive
capable.
Fielding by Blue Critter that inning. I must give him credit. He has been such a defensive rock for his team.
I'm not calling him Koshi the Rock. I'm not doing that.
Nope, that's taken by Boshi the Rock. But you do have to give Blue Critter credit. An excellent defensive player. Absolutely one of the stars of the team. Some unfortunate batting by Light Pink Yoshi there will send the ball not quite right into the Funky Kong's glove at third base, but right there enough to let him easily field it over to first for a rare out at first you don't normally see. Normally it's, one of the infielders over to first.
Daisy swings on 2 strikes and is not able to escape the infield. First 2 batters, first 2 outs now for the Flowers. You almost want to see a inning start with Mr. Consistency with him to get some runners on before their sluggers come up. But even he is not able to escape this inning as he grounds out to the second base player. And 3 up, 3 out for the Flowers when they're down 5 runs. And I guess we find out now what happens with this beautiful pattern that the Musicians have laid out. They're at the top of their order at the bottom of the 7th with a 5-run lead.
Tato will not be starting it off with much of anything. Flying out with a good dive from Blue Pianta over at shortstop. It's Funky Kong, who might be the one who determines the flavor of this inning. Watches one despite a charge up. Charges for the second and slaps it. It's long, but not all that far. It's gonna fall directly into the glove of Baby Daisy. And for the Musicians right now, it may look like that wasn't a countdown. They were just running out of steam.
Well, there's always danger as long as Donkey Kong is next in the order, but he'll have to wait until next inning as the Luigi successfully shuts down 3 batters in a row. And
You're gonna have to be careful. If this pattern keeps up and they make it to the 9th inning, they're gonna score a negative run.
I think that's called an error, but Blue Critter unfortunately hits it with a little bit too much power and not enough height. He knocks it out to Miku in left field. Now Tyler 1 at the position. Charges, knocks it out to left field as well, but the boo, which was so critical in the Monsters versus Rookies game today, allows Tyler 1 to sneak his way to scoring position on second. And with lots of potentially great slap hitters behind him, excellent opportunity from the Flowers. Excellent opportunity that is taken advantage of as Tiny Kong and Dixie Kong fumble a little bit in the outfield and allow Tyler 1 to reach home and for the Flowers to get another point on the scoreboard.
A weird error from Dixie Kong there, missing the buddy throw attempt that is going to finally tire out Tato, or at least begin to. This has been one of her best pitch. This has been one of her best pitching performances in terms of stamina, but the team does always have Donkey Kong to turn to. They don't need him just yet. Tato only letting up another one despite some excellent batting performances from the Flowers. Great fielding backs her up. And we are going into the bottom of the 8th, 2-6. And it's Donkey Kong, man of the team, man of the hour, possibly man of the league, depending on how you look at it, stepping up to the plate.
Luigi trying to tease Donkey Kong into a whiffed hit with some of these curveballs, and it's good enough to force the man. The line drive was perfectly positioned in terms of angle, but not high enough to avoid the catch, the jumping catch from Blue Pianta.
Some good work from Luigi and Blue Pianta there in order to prevent what might have been damage, but then a bobble from Blue Pianta is going to allow Dixie Kong to sneak onto base. Up to Captain Miku now to see if she can make anything of it. Charges, but watches the ball. Good discipline. Going to charge again, find the hit. It's directly out to Blue Yoshi in the left field.
Has Miku gone on
Not
base
what she
this
was
game?
hoping for.
Has Miku gone on base this game?
No, she has not.
Well, Tojima now, keeping up that Toad narrative with another excellent slap hit when necessary. And now a runner on first, a runner on second. And
We've hyped up
YP!
musicians 2-out rallies for a little while. They haven't been showing them lately, but haven't quite needed to. Having won their last couple games against the Monarchs, they're in a good position now. They don't really need a 2-out rally. YP's gonna try and find one anyway. Won't make it to first base in time. Once again, that amazing arm, that amazing defense from the Flowers will shut him down and get them out of a bases loaded situation.
Well, the Flowers need to score 4 runs in 1 inning. And Dark Blue Yoshi is not going to be the one to start that off, as Tato looks to pitch a full game against the bottom of the order now. Baby Daisy.
If she makes it, will that be our first complete game? Will that be our first complete game in Galaxy League history? Baby Daisy is going to try and make it, so Tato leaves. She wants to take that accolade away. Isn't going to succeed just yet. Tato believes she can pitch through light pink Yoshi at least, but behind her is that very dangerous captain, but not when you've got Boshi the Rock there to turn the double play. Tato, the first Galaxy League pitcher to go for all 9, unless it might have been Cookie. We are getting word it might have been Cookie.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm not sure if Cookie has pitched a full game before. It might have been that she just got incredibly close, but regardless now, that means that the Flowers are in the hot seat. If they want to make playoffs, they're going to have to do so not just by going 1-1 against the FireEggs, but by beating them in a 2-0 series next week. The Musicians, meanwhile, more than secure their spot as a higher seed as we head into the last week of Grand Slam Galaxy. Let's talk about this game first, though. MVP honors to Funky Kong.
I think that makes sense. He did hit that 2-run home run that really started things off. Was pretty good at getting on base and batting in other runners this game. And we found out the meaning of the pattern, Willie. They scored 3 in the first, nothing. 2 in the third, nothing. 1 in the fifth, nothing, nothing, nothing. Didn't even have to bat in the ninth.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about the Flowers first. Again, Captain Daisy has not shown up for this team like she did at the start of this season. And while they have had an excellent job of getting on base with many strong slap hitters, those first 6 batters look like they should be a pretty devastating lineup. But whenever they get runners on base, none of them are able to capitalize. Blue Pianta, Tyler 1, Soda Poppin', even when Baby Daisy and Pink Yoshi do their job on the back end and Daisy comes up, the death of the Flowers has always been setting up great opportunities and then falling to double plays or worse, clearing out their batters and erasing their progress.
I think that might just be the main issue of their first 6. They've got some excellent slap batters, but other than Daisy's performance, none of them have really shown capacity to hit home runs for a while. Even Blue Critter and Blue Pianta don't take it for yard a lot of the games. Once you've got the bases loaded, a single can be good enough to drive someone home, but it can also be an out at any base.
Now, that does mean, as well, we're going to have to point out, I forget what my point was. Never mind. Excuse me. We'll move on to the musicians in just a second after I make my last point against the Flowers, which is, honestly, I would not even come close to lighting this team off. While they sit in that 7th position right now, I think that they have more than enough gas in the tank to overcome the FireEggs. It's also very possible that a late season collapse from one of the other teams lets the Flowers just... No, actually, if they want to take themselves into the playoffs, their only option is to leapfrog the FireEggs in a 2-0 victory. With all the other teams having at least 6 wins, and the FireEggs having 5, the Flowers with 4, and a not very great run differential, unless, like, the Spitballs have a absolutely devastating -30 loss 2 games in a row, the only way into the playoffs for the Flowers will be both games against the FireEggs. If anyone can do it, it might very well be the Flowers, but it means that series next week will be what determines our playoffs teams. Now, moving on to the musicians. Whereas the Monarchs are in a position where their sluggers have to perform, have to show up, it seems like the musicians are in a similar state to the rookies. Almost like a cross between the rookies and Monarchs. Sure, they've got some weak batters on their team. They've got some weaker part of the rotation. They're not the ultimate powerhouse that the rookies are. But they also, with such a consistently strong hitter in Donkey Kong, will always have home run potential on the field. Doubly so if Funky Kong shows up like he did today.
Yes, indeed, Willie. Tato has actually been stepping up the batting performance recently, whereas Captain Miku has fallen off a little bit. It seems like those two kind of trade off at the plate, and both of them hold important defensive positions on the team. Tato from the mound as the starting pitcher, and Miku in that left field, helping to shore up that outfield chemistry.
Alright, let's talk about the most exciting thing in the league. Let's talk about playoff potential. Okay, after a little bit of reorganizing, unlike last week, we do have a healthy amount of movement on the scoreboard as 4 teams in 2 pairs swap positions. We're going to go with yeah, okay. So, standings at the end of last week were Monsters, Rookies, Monarchs, Musicians, pay attention to that, Spitballs, Flowers, FireEggs, pay attention to that, and the Bows. At the end of this Playday, it turns out that we have, a very similar scoreboard, but slightly swapped around. The Rookies' win puts them within 1 of the Monsters, whereas before they were behind by 2. So, opportunity by the Rookies to leapfrog and manage to secure top seed heading out of this regular season. They're almost certainly secured 2nd place, pending collapse. The Musicians are the only team that could possibly take that away from them, and it would take a pretty solid performance, but the Musicians' last opponent of the season is the Bows, so lots of opportunities for them to patch up their run differential. Meanwhile, While the Musicians and the Monarchs swapped, the Spitballs stayed dead in the middle of the pack in that 5th place slot, no movement from them. While the FireEggs and the Flowers swapped, whereas it was the FireEggs in the hot seat before due to run differential, is now the Flowers in the hot seat due to being down a game. If the Flowers can win both games, and they have to, they can still make the playoffs. But if the FireEggs win even one game, their win-loss record will be more than enough to keep them above the Flowers. It's just run differential at that point is only for seeding for those who have made playoffs. The Flowers have to make the playoffs by wins. Run differential no longer matters for them. It's just a winning game. And we'll have to see whether or not they're able to do so as we head into Playday number 13 this Tuesday. Any closing comments, Silver Lily?
Just, we had some excellent games today. There was that comeback from the FireEggs against the Monarchs, that walk-off single. That walk-off single from, which player was it? Was it Baby Luigi who hit that, or was it Baby Luigi that ran in off that? I just remember it happening.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, it was Ash. It was Ash Ketchum hit a walk-off single to end the game and take the comeback against the Monarchs. That was an excellent game. And then the Monsters once again showing just that bit of vulnerability. They have dropped 2 games now. Who are the teams they've dropped those games to? Well, they're the Rookies in 2nd place and the Musicians in 3rd. So we have seen that while the Monsters are definitely the 1st place team and are looking to secure that in their final series of the league, they are vulnerable. They can be beaten, and that's going to make for some exciting playoffs.
If they lose, by the way, in their next series, let's go over the series that we're seeing right now. Right now, the top seed Monsters, their final of series of the season.
In general.
Oh yeah, but no. Check this out. Following up on your point, they lost to the 2nd and 3rd seed. Their last series of the season is against the 4th seed, the Monarchs, who could very well prove that seeds 2, 3, and 4 have what it takes to beat the Monsters in Grand Slam Galaxy. Meanwhile, let's jump over to the Musicians in 3rd place. They will be playing against the Bows in their last series, and a lot of other teams have taken that opportunity to patch up their run differential. We see that all the teams with winning records right now have run differentials greater than 30 besides the Musicians, so chance for them, if the Bows don't do a late season turnaround, to really drive up that score and secure themselves a higher seed later in the playoffs. The Monarchs in 4th have already covered. They're fighting the Monsters, and I'm sorry I skipped over the Rookies in 2nd. If they want to get those 2 wins they will need to secure 1st place, well, they're going to have to score it off the Spitballs in 5th. The Spitballs, who have been pretty solid, 6-6 so far this season, so even win-loss. And if they can even take 1 off the Rookies and maintain that 500 going into playoffs, they will also, by proxy, basically, unless the loss is a devastating one, guarantee the Monsters 1st seed. Our last series, the all-important one and the one that decides playoffs. Yes, the 6th and 7th place teams will be facing each other. FireEggs and Flowers showdown to decide who gets the last playoff spot. The FireEggs, despite having a lower run differential, go into the last series with an advantage. If they win one of the games in that series, they secure playoff contention. If they lose, if they lose both games, they will fall to 7th and the Flowers will squeak into the playoffs. What storylines come next in the last 2 points in Grand Slam Galaxy? Will the Immortal Monsters prove themselves mortal and fall down to second seed? Will the Musicians somehow manage to snag second place from a collapsing Rookies? Can the Monarchs prove themselves as the danger they were early in the season? Or will they have to settle for being a middle-of-the-pack team? Same with the Spitballs. Can they find that late season resurgence, as they have been on an uptrend? They were lower in the standings before, but now with a 500 win loss, they'll try to prove themselves a threat against some of these high tier teams. The Bows, can they get a second win? And the FireEggs and the Flowers face off for the last spot in Grand Slam Galaxy playoffs. Everybody, thank you for joining me. Thank you to my co-commentator, Silver Lily. Sign off to you.
Thank you for having me on today, Willie. I know it had been a while, and I could feel myself recalibrating as I started commentating today. But it has been so much fun doing this, and I am looking forward to our last series, and I am looking forward to our playoffs.
Ladies and gentlemen, I will see you for Playday number 13 of Grand Slam Galaxy. We're just going to end the stream. We're not going to worry about rating or anything. So I hope you have a lovely, relaxing Saturday night, or a fun one if you're, going to watch Mario Baseball and then immediately head out to the club. Until next Playday, play ball. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.